Welcome back. This is Chopping It Up with Jason and Sherman, the finals edition of the 2020 USA Taekwondo Online Poomsae Grand Slam. Sherm, another finals that we're going to start here of one of these virtual online competitions, and so far the competition has been such a high level, so competitive.
Yep. And now we're at the crucible moment now. Now we're going to see who wants to be the winner, who wants to win a major, who wants to get those 16 points, who wants to be on the national team, because this is where you show up and show out. This is the final. I love the finals, man. Listen, we have been in and coached at enough final events that right. Anticipation when you're in the tunnel and you know you're about to go out and you're like, all right, let's go get it. And you're running through your head all the possible scenarios. I imagine our Poomsae athletes are like, all right, I'm in the final. Let me not burp in the middle of my Poomsae. Let me make sure I have all my stuff together. So I'm excited. You're excited. They're excited. Let's get to it. We have a whole, as you would say, a whole rack of Poomsae to do today.
Yes, you're right. And I'll go from one of your phrases and say, let's start with this cornucopia of divisions right here.
Yes.
Let's do it. Hey, like Sherman said, this is a busy finals episode. So without further ado,
episode 4, a new Poomsae. Yes. Shout out to Star Wars and George Lucas' estate. You go ahead and shoot us a little check, and a little for Jose, a little for Jay, and a little for me, and then we'll be good. All right.
I would appreciate that very much, George. So this is the finals. I'm going to give you the division. Sherm, why don't you give us their designated Poomsae?
Will do. Let's
start off with the under 30 male black belts.
All right, the under 30 male black belts are doing Taeguk 8 and Kumgang as their designated Poomsae.
The under 40 male black belts.
They are doing Tebek and Taeguk 8 as their designated Poomsae.
The under 50 male black belts.
The under 50 are doing Kumgang and Chunghwan as their designated Poomsae.
Very nice, very nice. Under 60 male black belt division.
Under 60 is doing Tebek and Koryo as their designated Poomsae.
And the under 65 male black belt division?
Yes, the under 65 males are doing Kumgang and Hansu as their designated Poomsae.
The over 65 male black belt division.
Over 65, they have Tebek and Pyeongwon as their designated Poomsae. Gentlemen, best of luck to you.
Definitely. How about the youth male black belt competitors finals?
I'm glad you asked. They will be doing Koryo and Taeguk 2.
Koryo and Taeguk 2. Big difference there.
Man, I was just thinking you go all the way from Taeguk 2 to Koryo. But listen, you want to be the champ, you got to do what champs do. And champs do whatever's necessary to win. So
that's right.
Best of luck, fellas.
You're right.
Get her done.
Some versatility. They're going to have to show their versatility there.
Yep.
And definitely show from that lower, more basic version to all the way up to Koryo. I love it. Hey, we're in the recognized team, so let's do it. The recognized team over 30 male, their designated Poomsae is?
Over 30 males are doing Jite and Taeguk 8.
The recognized under 30 male team competition.
Under 30 males are doing Pyeongwon and Taeguk 7 as their designated Poomsae.
I love it. And the under 30, these are all black belts, by the way. The under 30 female recognized team division black belts, they're doing what, Sherm?
The team ladies will be doing Taeguk 8 and Koryo as their designated Poomsae. Best of luck to all of our teams. Go out there and get it. Get after it.
Love it. We're gonna go down to the youth and to some colored belts here. Let's go to the youth male red belt finals division. They'll be competing with what?
Youth male finals will be doing Taeguk 4 and Taeguk 6. Go get them.
How about the under 50 male red belts?
Under 50 male red belts will be doing Taeguk 5 and Taeguk 7.
That's good stuff. The youth female red belts are doing what, Sherm?
The youth female red belts will be doing Taeguk 7 and Taeguk 4. Best of luck, young ladies.
Definitely. And last but not least, the under 50 female red belts performing their Poomsae. Last but definitely not least.
Under 50 female red belts, you will be doing Taeguk 5 and Taeguk 8. So let's get it done. Ladies, we wish you all the best. To all of our competitors, go out there and get it done, and we'll see you on the other side.
That's right. Finals competition coming up. Miyako, Yerick, and Barbara Brand with the call. Good luck to all of you guys. See you, like Sherman said, on the other side.
Thanks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the 2020 USAT Grand Slam. This is national coach and 2020 national team member Barbara Brand on the West Coast with fellow Poomsae connoisseur Miyako Yerick on the East Coast. Hi, Miyako. Are you ready for some great finals Poomsae action tonight?
I'm so excited, Coach Brand. And like you said, we're into the finals now. All week we started with prelims. Now here, our first division of the finals, and we're starting with the male senior 1 division.
Right. First up is Jeremy Suh from CW Taekwondo at Boston, coached by head coach, our national head coach, Dan Chuang.
So it looks like the 2 forms that we have today for this division is going to be Palchong, followed by Kumgang.
Everybody's favorite, right? A real test of balance and finesse in Kumgang. So I'm going to imagine a lot of great scores in Palchong, maybe a little bit of a drop in the scores for Kumgang, lots of opportunity for little deductions that can sometimes be frustrating for the athletes, but we may have somebody here who just like knocks it out of the park, and that's always fun to watch with Kumgang. Kind of
absolutely. There's
right.
There's always someone who does just an amazing job on Kumgang. But Jeremy's kicking us off here with a 7.3 on his Palchong.
That's a good score. So we're probably likely to see a lot of scores between 7 and 7.5. I imagine in this division we might have a few peaking above of that. Jeremy was seated in the number 10 slot coming into this event.
Great. So he managed to bump himself up here. He's 8th place. Of course, finals is 8 competitors. So he's coming in at 8th. And of course, we always try and sneak ourselves up a few spots if possible, if we're into the finals, especially at this tournament, because it's a major event. Yes, but it's also a 16.0. So there is a ton of ranking points up for grabs here. And in the finals, each spot is a slightly different ranking number. It's not like prelims where everybody gets the same amount of points, same number of points. In the finals, every single spot, you get slightly more points for finishing higher.
Right. And if you're new to watching one of our wonderful events that USAT has recently been putting on here, first of all, welcome. And secondly, just understand that in the finals division here, we're going to be seeing the person who placed 8th appearing first, and we work our way down to 7th, 6th, and finally to the person who is coming into the finals in the highest spot.
Right, and this is, again, Jeremy Suh coming to us out of Massachusetts. He's a freshman in college this year, starting at Columbia University, Columbia College. And I know Coach Brand's favorite fun fact, he loves boba.
Oh, we have a lot of athletes who are boba lovers. So he's a 6.97 to follow his 7.3 in Tego Palchong. So he's going to finish up with a 7.133. Again, this is the under 30 male division. So from 18 to 30 years old. Up next, we have Alex Tercios from YH Park Taekwondo Academy in New York.
This is a fun fact I haven't seen before, Coach Brand. Alex, in his, outside of Taekwondo, one of the things he likes to collect is sneakers.
Oh, good for him. So, yeah, I'm sure we have a lot of sneaker aficionados out there working on their collections. It's kind of fun to see one here in our Poomsae midst.
Nice high front kick towards the camera.
He's really trying to sell that power. So using a lot of core rotation in each of these techniques toward the end, you can really see him turning that core, not just staying square to the direction and throwing out an arm, but he looks really good in that rotation. So he ends up with a 7.23 for Tego Palchong.
Pretty good job of trying to keep those arms really centered, coming directly towards the camera on that first bar of Kumgang.
That turn's pretty challenging for many athletes because their body wants to come up a little bit. It wants to rise during the turn. And so he's trying to hold his position there during that turn at the same height of the stance before. So he's going from a horse stance to a Hakari Sogi on that turn, trying to stay low. We'll see that again one more time as he leaves this line here and goes back to that center line. So from this position here, this horse stance to this next Hakari Sogi, got to stay low, got to stay level. Did a little bit better job on this one than the first. And now finishing strong, that last Juchum Sogi horse stance. So that's Alex Tercios at a YH Park Taekwondo Academy in New York. He got a 7.23 for his first Poomsae. He was seated in the number 15 spot, Miyako, so he did a great job getting to number 7. So he got a 6.8 for that second form. So it looks like he'll be just under Jeremy Suh for that performance. He ends up with a 7.017. Up next, we have William Shin from Georgia. He's with Kim's K Taekwondo. He came into the event with a number 6 seed, and that's where he is right now in the finals.
He's already competed in quite a few tournaments as a senior one, even though he's just 17 years old. This is his first year in the division. So I guess must be turning 18 in the next couple of months here. But he competed at US Open and President's Cup last year and medaled in all of those events. So definitely a strong competitor, even though he is a little bit shorter. I'm sure he's going to grow and just continue to get bigger and stronger as he moves through this division.
He has really good leg length, though, so he's able to really push up those kicks and look strong. I remember him, I think, from the summer of Poomsae, right, Miyako? In the same division.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he finished really strong in the summer of Poomsae, so really great competitor here in the finals.
Whoa, and up to 7.5. That's fun. Let's see what he can do with Kumgang.
You mentioned we're definitely going to see some mid-7s here, but I think that on Paljung, as we get to the last people to go, we might get close to an 8. We've had a couple people do it, but nobody's gotten a combined score of an 8 yet in this tournament. So that's always the big goal where, we get really excited for.
Right. He's off to a really good start with Kumgang. Looking very balanced. Up a little high on that Hakari Sogi, however, so he might have to drop down to this next horse stance. And up again, a little bit high on that. So that's something that he can work on. So with the Hakari Sogi, that crane stance, you either feel good all the way up tall or all the way down low. Sometimes in the middle, it's very wobbly.
Right, I think he could sink into those stances just a tad more throughout, just stay a little bit lower, a little more grounded, especially during those spins and the crane stances, but very clean overall. Got a 7.5 on Paljung, so I think this will be another clean high score, probably in the 7s.
Definitely in the 7s for William Shin on this second Poomsae. So 7.4, not much of a drop, so he's got to feel great now into first place so far in the division. So we'll see the standings come up, I think, after the first 6 or so, right, Miyako?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So 7.45 for William Shin. And now to William Hurd, I think one of your teammates coming out of New York from CW Taekwondo at Boston.
All right, so this is Andrew Hurd. He's from New York, but now lives in the Boston area. Just recently graduated from Northeastern University, and now he works full-time as a web developer and does UX, UI stuff, and recently built his own PC as a hobby.
Bless you, Miyako. Did you sneeze there? It sounded like you were saying a word, and then it was just like... What did you say he does?
Oh, I think he does UX UI, which is like user interface. It's like user design. So how does the user see? And he does all that coding for it to be pretty to the user.
Oh, right. I knew that. Almost all of our viewers. Thanks for explaining, though.
And it's great to see Andrew here in the finals. He came in after, not doing quite as well as he had hoped in the Summer Poomsae, but big scores here so far in a Grand Slam, making it to the finals. And a 7-5, so tying there with William Shin on the first form.
시작.
Nice and clean going on that front line. I like to see those knees coming straight forward rather than wobbling to the inside from stance to stance. So that looked really good. So you saw him rise a little bit and then settle down into that stance. If athletes can turn at that lower height, that would be the thing to do. And he's trying there. So he's up a little bit and then he looks like he wants to drop down a little bit.
His pickups are very clean. I haven't seen bobbles as he goes into the crane stances.
Right, they're fast. Good job to Andrew Hurd. It's a long 8 seconds when you got that foot up there like that. You try to hold it steady, and it every now and then wants to shake around a little bit. So he got a 7.5 on Taeguk Paljung's, finishing with a 7.43, so just ahead of William Shin. Just below William.
Yeah, no, I think just above.
Oh, just above. Okay, I didn't wait for that. I didn't wait for the average to pop up. 7.467, so just above William Shin, just a scotch. Okay, this is Amil Javid. Normally competing in his basement of late, but now at Apex Tigers Martial Arts site. Amil is from Illinois.
And I think this school is in New Jersey. Is that right, Coach Brand?
That's right. So he took a little bit of a trip to get there and get some coaching as well.
Right. I think he might be doing pairs. I could be wrong with that. I'd have to check. Yeah, so he's doing pairs with Kira Kozar, who we saw in the female senior 1 division. So he probably came out to Jersey here to do pairs with his partner for this tournament.
A big trip. I remember him in his basement. He actually looked really strong in the basement because the camera was really close and the walls were like very close as well. And so it just framed him really perfectly to be able to show his power. So he gets the highest score so far in Taeguk Paljung. Just a bit over William Shin and Andrew Hurd.
Right, those 3 scores, though, the last 3 athletes all, within 3/100ths of a point for Paljung. So it is going to come down to Koomgang, on who can be the most stable.
Well, this looks very good so far. Well, a little bit of over rotation on that last turn.
Not quite centered after the spin on that horse stance. Let's see if he can center his weight here. A little bit better, but a little high in some of these horse stances.
Mm-hmm. But I think the power quality is high. I actually think he's getting better as he's going through the Poomsae. pretty stable. I see a little bit of movement on that pant leg on the bottom. He's going back and forth. And Emil might say, well, that is the fan in the room. That's the air conditioner.
It's the wind effect, Coach Brandt.
Yes, the Hollywood effect, making everything look kind of slick. Well, let's see what he gets. He got a 7.53, and then, a little bit of a drop on that one, so 7.3. So he's going to switch places in here, I think, into third place. So he's got a 7.417. So Andrew Hurd still in the lead here. This is Daniel Lee from Georgia. He's also with Kim K Taekwondo, so William Shin's teammate.
시작.
Yeah, and this is a big team here. We saw a lot of them in the summer of Poomsae, and both William and Daniel here opening up really strong in the finals. They have really great clean lines, especially on these slow moves.
Nice high kick, nice reach. Really powering up fast on those kicks.
Yeah, there is just a slight, head motion forward, but his kicks are coming up so fast and so strong that I don't even mind the extra motion.
바로.
I think just off of where he started, maybe.
Wow, look at that score, 7.73. So the judges certainly appreciate that power and that quick kicking technique.
Definitely. I want to go practice and try and do my front kicks like that now. I don't think I've ever tried to kick up so fast, but now I want to go try it.
I'll talk for a bit if you want to go try it now.
Okay, I'll be back.
Here's Daniel Lee on Kumgang with a sizable lead. So even if he has a few off, movements here, a deduction for this or that, he's still in good position.
Well, he needs to try and get this score as high as he possibly can, because we have Alex Lee and Ethan Sun coming up as our last two top-rated athletes in this division. So Daniel Lee trying to sneak his way into first or second, but needs a big score here on Kumgang.
This will be a big win for him if he does turn out to be in first after it's all over, because he was seeded number 8 coming into
wow.
the event.
Slight lean forward there, but otherwise pretty straight back throughout this form.
A little bit of a weight shift on that turn. Let's see if he can finish strong here.
바로.
That's Daniel Lee. He received a 7.73 for that first Poomsae table Paljang. And now for Kumgang. This is a big moment for him, waiting for this score at home here with everybody else. Wow, look at that, 7.57. I believe that's going to move Andrew Hurd into second place, and he's going to go up top with a 7.650. See, there it is. In the standings there in front of you, Daniel Lee in first, followed by Andrew Hurd, William Shid, Emil Javid, Jeremy Sutt, and Alex Tercios. And up next, we have Alex Lee from Eagle Taekwondo in Southern California. And this is going to be a bit of a battle for these last two competitors here. With differing styles, but just as much talent, passion, and heart into every single Poomsae, right, Miyako?
That's right. So, we talked about this in the semifinals. Alex Lee here, we're seeing very smooth, clean, accurate, nice click power at the end. Ethan Sun has a very more aggressive style. We get a little bit more power. It looks maybe a little bit more effortful, but, Ethan's coming in here to the finals in first from the semis. So it's Alex here who needs to step up on this final two forms. Right.
So I see Alex here looking very smooth as He always does. And with Ethan, what I'm expecting is nice, athletic, very agile looking technique. So just two differing styles, both of them super high skilled athletes. So let's see how he does. I'm sure, look at that. There's that 8 we're all looking for. So what a great start.
Wow.
시작.
Nice, great balance. Horizontal leg on that Hakari Sogi with that upraised leg. I have to say, it looks like he is turning up the power in this finals round. Ooh, nice, low.
Right, he trains with Ethan. Absolutely. He trains with Ethan. They're on the same team. They see each other all the time. I'm sure that they're cheering each other on, but of course, probably want to be first. So having your teammates there who are also so good can help push you to try and be the best you can be as well. So I'm sure that there's a nice, healthy competition, but friendly as well.
This Poomsae, nice and smooth. Balance is clear. There's not a lot of shaking or, that little trembling that goes on in the knee of the Hakari Sogi. Caught himself pretty good there on that last step. So there's Alex Lee from Eagles Taekwondo in Southern California. He received an 8.0 for his Keigo Paljang and just had a really nice performance there in Kumgang. And here's his score popping up right now, 7.9. So this is what we see oftentimes with Poomsae with Kumgang, just a little bit of a drop in the score. So he ends up with a 7.95. And now Ethan's son.
That does give him a.
Now Ethan's son.
He has a clear gap in first.
From the same club, Eagle Taekwondo in Southern California, seeded number 1, coming into the event, I should say, and in that first slot, coming into the finals. Little up and down there on that transition, but nice and low here in the front stance. It's hard to move out of a stance like that. That's pretty low.
I was going to say, that's some of the deepest front stances that I've seen in the competition. He's really pushing it to stay low and long here.
Nice high front right kick there. Both clearly over his head on that back line, which is nice. Nice strong finish. So Alex Lee got an 8.0 for his Poomsae, and Ethan Sun just a little bit lower, 7.83. But Ethan has a really good Kumgang, so let's see how he does here, if he's really able to make this look very powerful and graceful at the same time.
Both Ethan and Alex were part of that Pan Am Games team last year. First time Poomsae was included at the Pan Am Games with all the other Olympic summer sports. And they both competed in the freestyle team division. Alex was the male individual, but Ethan did pairs, traditional pairs, and just missed out on medaling there, but they all got a gold medal in freestyle team.
That's awesome. Look at that position right there. Really clean. I think he's capable of getting an 8 on this Poomsae. Little over rotation there, hard to stop. So you got to pull it back in. From that point, he has no problem doing that. He's just looking to really power through. And when he goes so fast, it's hard to stop on a dime.
Right. That's the only thing, though, really, is out of those spins, he's a little bit the weight moving too far forward. But other than that, he's been so clean. These crane stances, so steady.
And is it enough? So there's Ethan Sun from Eagles Taekwondo in Southern California. He was seated in the #1 spot going into this event and into the finals here. Oh, so close, 7.63 for that second Poomsae. I think just those finishes after the punches kind of hurt him on some of those over rotations. So he gets at 7.733. So here are our standings. In first, we have Alex Lee, followed by Ethan Sun, Daniel Lee, Andrew Hurd, William Shin, Amil Javid, Jeremy Suh, and Alex Tercios. Those are the final standings for the under 30 male finals. And who do we have next, Miyako?
So now we're moving to the male senior 2 division, which is 40 and under. 5 judges will be dropping the high and low scores, averaging those middle 3. And the forms will be Tebek and Paljang.
Now, up first, we have Shay Tippins from North Carolina. He trains at United Taekwondo Academy, and he was in the #4 seat spot for this event.
A little bit of extra movement on the back stance there in that side kick bar. Very hard. I know I worked a lot to try and not have knees move as you're trying to do all those hand techniques. But overall, Shay is doing a pretty good job here of keeping the torso straight during the form.
He's strong. He looks like he has a lot of potential, even more to demonstrate power through the techniques. He received a 7.17 for Tebek. Tons of potential though with Shay Tippins.
And he just recently had a child, so he has a newborn at home with his wife. Congratulations to Shay. I'm sure he's getting, not a lot of sleep, so might enjoy coming out here and getting to do his Poomsae.
Cool. Good job on that right front kick. Powering up here for a strong ending to take up Paljang.
Right, so we just saw all of the senior 1 male athletes, 18 to 30 do Paljang. Now we get to see the 31 to 40-year-old men do Paljang, and it's nice to just see kind of the power develop as we go through the divisions into the more senior and master divisions. I really enjoy kind of seeing the Poomsae evolve.
So Shay Tippins got a 7.17 on the first one and boosted up the score pretty well in the second, 7.27 for Tego Paljang. So he ends up with a score of 7.217.
준비.
Up next, we have Long Huynh from Team M Taekwondo in California.
시작.
So he was seated in the 8th spot for this event, so bumped himself up a little bit here for this round.
Right. Long, of course, trains and coaches with M Team with his 2 brothers. Here we have Long and An, who made it into the finals. And we'll see all 3 of them compete together as a team for a male senior 2 team, I believe, later tonight.
바로.
Clean Tebek there from Long. He gets his first year in, so nice to see him again after a couple of years coaching mostly before aging into senior 2.
So he receives a score of 7.27 for his first form of Tibet.
시작.
Nice performance here of Tibet. Good accuracy throughout the form. So it'll be interesting to see how this will be scored. So I think maybe this one even stronger than his Tibet, but we'll see how the judges think. Not quite. That's kind of surprising to me. I thought it was a good, solid performance for Taegu Poljung. So he ends up with a 7.233. So now into first place. Now he's followed by his brother On Gwyn. He was seated in the number 2 spot coming into this event.
시작.
And On's a current member of the 2020 National Poomsae team and on our World Championship 2020 team as well. Oh, nice strong high right round kick, a little higher than the left side. And good speed going toward the rear.
Yeah, On is very sharp. Throughout his Poomsae, he's hitting nice clean lines.
And good score. Start off 7.4, the highest so far in the division.
시작.
On doing a lot of the small details, which make the Poomsae kind of stand out a little bit with his timing, how he's finishing some of the movements, especially the 8-count movements, giving himself plenty of time to extend the techniques as well. Again, really good accuracy for On, and we'll see how this measures up to his first Poomsae. So we got a 7.4 for Tebek. And now 7.47. So it puts him into first place. With 5 other athletes to go. So he has 7.433. And we'll see the standings in a bit here. This is David Chan from Massachusetts, and he trains at CW Taekwondo at Boston.
Dave, of course, married to Carissa Fu, who we'll see in the female senior 2 division. And on the national team with her for pairs this year, opening up with a nice strong left side kick there. High on the right side too.
It looks like he's got a very quick pace on his transitions there. I think he may have missed one small detail movement in that line that went side to side as close to the camera here. A little hand technique missing piece, I think, there on the second side. So when he's going from that middle block, upper block, and to the punch, I think maybe something missing there. Poomsae has really improved over the years. There's a nice rotation here for the full count, which a lot of athletes forget about. They kind of stay square and then just, do the punch slow motion. But he has really good rotation throughout the entire Poomsae. That's probably one of the highlights of his technique is rotating that core.
Yeah, Dave took a couple years off to go back to school and just got his doctorate in physical therapy. Now back to competing in the senior 2 division. So nice to see him back. And I do think that knowledge that he learned in school is really helping him apply it to his Poomsae.
So David got a 7.1 for Tibet. And now for take a Paul jump just a little bit lower. 7.0. It ends up with a 7.050. So this is Kwon Jin Ha from Connecticut. He trains at World Champion Taekwondo Fairfield and is also master instructor there.
One thing, so far in this division, we haven't seen super high side kicks, but I think it goes to show you that, kicks are part of the Poomsae package, but not everything. And we see some really great competitors on the national team, many in this division on the team. Just really good control, good extension, and power will do a lot for you.
Yeah, from Kwon Jin Ha, good score 7.6, and he's a multiple U.S. team member as well. On has that spot this year, but KJ's been on the team a few times as well. So we have a good high quality set of talented athletes in this division.
I believe KJ's on the team this year for male team, or won that spot back in January. I think Master KJ also has a TikTok, if I saw that on Facebook, right? And likes to play soccer with his kids, who we also got to see for the first time in the summer of Poomsae. I haven't seen his kids before, so that was nice.
Yeah, finishing strong.
바로
He's very detail-oriented too, has good accuracy in that. He and On Win are pretty similar like that. I think, though, that On takes a little bit more assertive, aggressive tone with the speed of the Poomsae.
Oh, wow.
And KJ kind of laying it out just a little bit differently. So he receives a 7.7. That is a big score. He tried to really lay everything out there, make sure he had nice long finishes to everything. So he's finishing there with a 7.65. And this is Jin Kim from Colorado. He trains with Ichthus Taekwondo team and Master Pok Sung Young.
And Jin, I believe, competes with KJ, who we just saw on male team, along with Johnny Wynn out of Arizona, and the 3 of them were on the male senior 2 team. Jin also finished, I think, 3rd place in this division at the Grand Slam in January. And, some of the highest kicks we've seen so far, the side kicks, nice, high, and clean.
Significantly higher side kicks. Not the case with the front kicks. The front kicks are about where everybody else is kicking in the division. But we'll see how this plays out with the score for presentation, because oftentimes when we get those higher side kicks, we're rewarded with the score. In this case, he gets a 7.43. He was seeded number 5 going into this event.
시작.
7.43, I think, is the combined score that On finished with. So if he can boost up here a little bit on Paul Jong, he can try and take over that spot. But KJ right now with a 7.65 into first place clearly. And we have a ton of finals tonight, everyone. So it's just 8 athletes or less in each of the divisions. So we're going to move pretty quickly. Jin here. Afterwards, we have just 2 more in this division, and we'll have our medalists, our top 4. But of course, everybody in the finals will be getting ranking points.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he can boost it above On's score here. No sidekicks and take a Paul Jung to help him with the presentation. But boy, he had some great sidekicks.
Sean, who is going to be last in this division, had some great sidekicks in the semis. I think really helped boost him into first. So we'll see how he finishes out, but definitely helped Jin here in that first.
So you see a little bit of a drop of a score. So 7.37 for Jin Kim's second Poomsae, and a total score of 7.4. And we're talking about very small margin here for these top athletes. We have Hwan Jin Ha in first place, followed by An Win and Jin Kim. See that small space there, that small gap, and then Long and Shay Tippins in the next spots there. So this is Minky Song from Oregon. He trains at Happy Valley Family Martial Arts. So Minky had a really great summer Poomsae performance, as I recall. Do you remember that, Miyako?
I remember it being really solid. I don't remember what place he ended up finishing at, but since then he's done a lot more online tournaments, including the Lens Online from Europe, where he placed second, I think, in this 40 and under. So really just getting out there. I think he even did beach Poomsae.
Wow.
So he clearly enjoys competing, has been doing it a lot, and looks really solid here to open up with Quebec.
Right. He also had a little bit higher level sidekicks in the group here. Not completely aligned, but really good height on those. So Minky Song out of Oregon gets 7.77. Look at that. They definitely like that Poomsae. So that's a pretty big jump from Hwan Jin Ha's 7.6 for the same form.
Right, and that's the highest score so
Nice clean line to the back there. And pretty good vertical posture through those front kicks.
and a very calm face. This looks easy for him. It's not strenuous or difficult. He looks very comfortable and calm, natural movement, which just helps with the overall presentation.
And not a lot of extra movement for sure with Minky Song. So he gets a 7.77 for the first Poomsae, and for Paul Jung, 7.73. So wow, 2 really great scores. So he's going to finish up with a 7.75 and into first place for Minky Song. And now the competitor that was first going into the finals here, but seeded number 11 coming into the event, Sean Jung from Colorado, U.S. Taekwondo Center in Aurora. Nice high front kicks to start off.
Right, Sean is young, new to this division, and I think his kicks are going to be very high here for the division overall.
Oh, looks good there, trying to really push up. Very nice. Back leg not quite set in some of these front stances, so we'll see how that plays out. Some of the other athletes were really careful about that accuracy there. So that back leg not quite extended as far as it could be to give that really clean picture. Let's see how he does and if it affected the score. So 7.37. So that's about maybe the 5th highest score for that Poomsae so far. So he's really going to have to do something big here and take a Paul jump to overtake Miki Song. And this is not the easiest form to get your score boosted up, right? So he has these pretty good side kicks, but he's not doing choreo or any other kick that's really going to allow him to show that off.
Right. Good front kicks though. I think, yeah, his stances are a little short and that back leg on the front stance is just a little bent. So really working on locking out the back leg, extending it, getting deeper in the front stances will help him. But a nice solid form to finish out this division. That was the last form for the senior two men.
Yeah, so Sean Jung received 7.37 for that first Poomsae, and I think maybe around, yeah, the same score for the second, 7.37. So he finishes up with a 7.367, and we're going to see the standings here with Miki Song in first, followed by Kwon Jin Ha, An Win, Jin Kim, Sean Jung, Long Win, Shay Tippin, and David Chan.
So now we're moving on to our next division, going up one more age group to the 50 and under male.
Right, so up first in the under 50 male finals, we have Henry VR. He was seated in the number 14 spot, so good job to him for being in the top 8 here. He trains at Victory Taekwondo RWC in California. So everybody in this division is going to be doing Kumgang and Chongkwang.
Those are two fun forms for sure. I haven't gotten to compete with Chongkwon before. Hopefully next year when I age up, I can do it in pairs or team. But I think it's always fun to watch some of those higher level forms.
Yeah, a lot of finesse, a lot of smooth technique in Chongkwon. So be really interesting to see how all the athletes interpret those movements in Chongkwon.
Little bit extra bigger motion into some of the draws. I think just making sure he can be a little bit more direct in the line of the movement so that it's not too big.
He is a 6.3. A little bit of variation between the judges, but not that much. So he gets 6.3 to start off. He picked up pretty quick speed on Kumgang, so we'll see how he does here in Chongkwon. This one does have some slow motion movements, just like Kumgang does.
And normally I would say Kumgang is a difficult form. Scores might be lower, but what do you think about Chongkwon? How does it normally score in comparison to, say, a Kumgang?
I think maybe higher, you know, but it really is a form that, how can I say this, really demands a lot of attention to the finesse details. So it really is dependent on the athlete. You can go way up or you can go way lower than Kumgang.
Yeah, that's such a dynamic bar there.
Yeah, but it also requires a lot of stability in the stances and some nice agility here in this movement. But these slow motion movements, a lot of opportunity to either look really great or get some deductions here.
And is that a 5 count or an 8 count for those two moves at the end?
It's a 5 count, and 5 counts here as well.
Okay.
So that last one, the palm should finish right at about the philtrum, or between the chin and the philtrum, and the lower one protecting just below the belt. We have a 5.93 for a second Poomsae. So 6.117. So all of these small details in Chongkwon are going to matter in this final round. This is Patrick Sotelo from Texas. He trains at Lee's U.S. Taekwondo Academy. So he's coached by one of our U.S. National team members, Un Lee.
And he recently competed in the NCTA championships online, where he got a bronze medal. So I think that helped his ranking points. So he came into this tournament here, at least going second in the finals. A little bit of a careful approach to the pickup into this crane stance.
Yes, we saw Henry VR with a pretty quick attack style. And now Patrick's a little slower, a little bit more cautious and careful. He's got really good balance on this Hakdari sogi here.
Staying pretty low on that spin as well.
So Henry VR got a 6.3 on Kumgang, and Patrick just a little bit higher with a 6.4.
So another form opens with a lot of slow motions, sort of like Shipjin. So I feel like you really have to emphasize that quick motions when they do happen. And then, of course, this dynamic bar here, but so many little moves that you don't do anywhere else that could quickly go wrong.
Right. And for Changquan, for athletes that are maybe in the Master 3 and 4 divisions, they feel pretty much at home with his form. But for the under 50 division, they're still feeling it out, just starting to learn it. And I know you think like under 50, these guys are, in their 40s. So we think they've been around Taekwondo for a really long time and might feel more comfortable than they actually do with Changquan. It's a new form for them in this division. And it has a lot of challenges, a lot of beautiful parts of the Poomsae, but also very challenging for many athletes. So it's fun to see them just beginning with the Poomsae. Just babies, if you will, with Changquan. 6.77. And finishing with a 6.583. And here's Arnold Chung from California. He's with Team Elite USA. Is seeded number 12 going into the event, but number 6 here in the finals.
And he's coached many athletes to the national team. He's had a student on the national team for the past 7 years, and now competing as well. So it's always nice to see coaches competing as well as coaching.
So a little high on those Hakdaris on that first line and then dropping a bit for the horse stance, but Arnold's pretty strategic. He's doing that for a reason. So he's trying to get his best performance here. And so he's okay with that little bit of up and down movement to get the overall picture that he's looking for.
And very stable in these crane stances.
He's very stable in general. So he's really positioning himself to highlight that as he goes through Kumgang. He's not going any lower than he's comfortable. Making sure he has these nice long 8 counts before going to the next step.
Paddle.
Another slightly slower tempo, like you said, very much in control of everything, but not the attacking style we've seen. But gets him the highest score so far.
Right, so it's paying off. So I'll expect to see the same thing in Changquan from Arnold Chung, a little bit slower, really rooted to the ground, and a very thoughtful approach to Changquan. So you see these front stances are not super long, but it allows him the opportunity to come forward really stable.
Yeah, he's not very deep in any of the stances, but they are very stable. They're very clean. There's not a ton of extra movement in this. So it might just be where he's most comfortable to move through the form.
Right. There's a couple cases where he's not quite finishing the movement entirely. So we'll see how this plays out with the final score. Judges are many times very protective of this Poomsae and wanting to make sure that all those details are there.
바로 차례.
So Arnold Chung received a 6.57 for the first Poomsae, Kumgang. And for Chongquan, exact same score, 6.57. So he ends up with a 6.567. Now we have Angelito Ong from Florida with
Stop.
Ong's Taekwondo, I believe his club. So we saw many athletes from this site at Summer Poomsae, right, Miyako?
That's right. I remember the big banner. I think they performed in front of that last time. So now getting to see a little bit more of the dojang. I do think as we're recording, just because we can see so many different dojangs and different spaces, you know, living rooms, being a little bit closer so you take up more of the screen without going out can be helpful. If you're too far away, sometimes you're just really small and it doesn't look as strong. But I think as zoomed in as you can get is nice. Taking his time on these pickups.
바로.
Also didn't pick a super low position either for those horse dances. So they like that timing there. He gets a 7.0 for Kumgang. That's a pretty sizable gap.
Yeah, you know, Henry VR finished with a total score of 6.1 and now jumping all the way up to a 7 for Angelito's first form. So we're going to get a wide range of scores, I think, here in the finals. It can be awkward sometimes coming forwards, looking straight at the judges. Coach Brand, where do you look when you're competing?
Just straight ahead.
Just, just look past them.
Just eye level, yeah, just like right through them. Some athletes have had to, get over a little bit of anxiety for these online events because with the virtual competitions, everybody has to record and re-record and re-record, and some people do not like watching their recordings. Feel a little bit self-conscious about somebody being in the room to help them with recording or reviewing them. They feel like I'm not sure what all goes into that anxiety, but plenty of athletes have had to battle that and overcome it in order to do these competitions. So that's kind of nice to see that they've been able to do that. So he gets another 7.0 and into the lead. It's a nice gap. But we have some very strong performers coming up in this same division. We have our last 4 competitors here, starting off with Krishna Sitaram, and I just love this space. And I love the fact that he's going to be doing Kumgang in this space. He's got 3 mats, so not a lot of room for air when he does these spins. It can be really nice though and secure being in a small a square of a space.
Right, it looks like he opened up those ping pong tables, maybe to block off the other room. So far fitting in the space. I think he's going to be right on that wall once he goes the 2 spins to the other side.
But sometimes that might feel good, right? Very secure. And having that wall to be right there to kind of help support in those hakari sogi. Sometimes you might be able to focus on just that wall and give them a sense of balance.
You know, it's interesting. You said some of your students, or you've heard athletes, have gotten a little nervous for the online recording because when you compete live in tournaments, especially at nationals, it's a huge event. There could be hundreds of people there watching. But with the online tournament, it's small when you're recording, but then it's out online and anybody in the world could watch that recording and the video of it. So it is very different.
You might have set a few people back by having them realize that. Good job. But it's an interesting phenomena, right? Like, you know, just the fact that somebody's recording and you're watching it, and it's just an odd feeling for many athletes for some reason. But like you mentioned, we should be used to that because going into a venue, we have many people watching us. 7.1 is Krishna's first score.
So that's a great score. He's boosting up even over on Hilito by 1/10 of a point there on a difficult kumgong. And now again, Chongkwan, you know, I haven't competed in this form before. Like you mentioned, you just start individual in this division, the 50 and under. So it could be new to them, but it just seems very fun. It seems like there's a lot of things going on. And it could be dangerous like kumgong, but seems very fun.
Well, this one's going to be interesting because he doesn't have a lot of mat space going forward, and following the side kick that's about to come up, when he has his left leg in the rear, he still has to take 2 steps forward. So it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates the end of this movement here after the side kick with 2 steps left to go and 1 mat. And he pops off. No problem for him. He's used to that space.
Yeah, and of course, no deductions for stepping off the mat like you would normally get at a tournament. You must stay within the mat, the ring space. But here, people are competing outside in garages, so no deductions. And an athletic jump there.
Yeah, a little bit of a right arm swinging out to the side during that kick. So he needs to control that just a bit more. That'll help.
Here's a fun fact about Krishna, Coach Brand. He only started Taekwondo at the age of 44, now 50 years old. So 6 years of experience, but, you know, came into this round in 4th place. So let's see if he can hold on to it. He's doing a really great job. I mean, 6 years is a long time, but to be starting at age 44 is impressive.
Well, that's a lot to learn in 6 years, going all the way up to Chongkwan and then being competitive as well. That's amazing. So he received a 7.1. Look at that, 7.1 for Chongkwan. So now he's in first place with a 7.2. And we have 3 athletes left. The first is Victor Chung, the brother of Arnold Chung, who competed earlier. And Victor also with Team Elite USA. So we're going to see even a little bit more of that kind of low center of gravity. And he looks very comfortable in this low stance.
Yeah, I think these are the lowest stances that I've seen so far in this division.
I think it's going to pay off.
Very stable, like you mentioned, the Chung brothers known for being very grounded and having nice, deep, strong stances. And definitely that's what we're seeing so far here from Victor.
good stability throughout. I think he could have thrown a little bit more power. I think he's got a little bit more in him to throw out with those Kumgang punches in general. But overall, real stable position and easily into first place now.
And maybe we'll get to see a little bit more power here on Chongguan. I think sometimes with Kumgang, you just go with a good run, and that was a very solid. Maybe now loosens up a little bit on Chongguan.
Right, you can show a little bit of contrast here with some power right there in that movement. And we have two slow motion movements. Some people do it in a count of 4 and another count of 4. Some people 5 and 3. So there's no set way to do it. But he has some good power opportunities right there and then right here on this back end.
Just off on that back stance. Can't see the right foot, but most of his stances have been just so solid.
And full 5 counts we're looking for right here. Maybe just a little bit short of that, but good job to Victor Chung. And he was in the first place after the first Poomsae, so we'll see how he does here if he can make that gap a little bit bigger. 7.03. So it's going to be close here with Krishna. So he finishes up with 7.183.
Jeez.
So look at that. Krishna in first place, followed by Victor Chung, Angelito Ong, Patrick Sotelo, Arnold Chung, and Henry Miyako. We have 2 left in the division, and this is Michael John Bugarin also from Ong's Taekwondo in Florida. So he was seeded number 4 coming into the event, and of course, number 2 coming into the finals. Nice low transition from that last back stance to this Hakdari shogi. Yeah, no problem on those transitions from line to line.
Couple of little wiggles on that base leg, but able to stay pretty low here throughout this segment.
Yeah, they're happening more as he reaches that end of that 8 count rather than at the beginning. He's able to transition pretty well. But the longer he's on that leg, you can see a little bit of wavering. A little bit more of a bounce on that transition there and see if he can finish strong.
Some of those horse stances not quite parallel, especially the last 2. So it might take a couple of accuracy hits on those.
So with the 7.0 for Michael Bugarin, it's actually a pretty high score for that Poomsae. I thought they could have caught him on a whole bunch of things, but they settled in and liked his pace. They liked his timing, and so rewarded that. Sometimes we don't know what the judges are going to pick apart or, be okay with.
Nice tall torso here. I think it's a pretty good picture coming forward. So 2 new forms for this division, right, Coach Brand? There's Jitae and Chongguan that they start competing with as new Poomsae. Both have side kicks directly towards the camera.
Yeah, both beautiful Poomsae. So I don't know how to put it other than to say there's a lot of slow motion, beautiful finesse techniques here. And so if the athletes kind of miss the mark and kind of just, set it here or place it there, it doesn't have the same effect. So we're going to see some lower scores here on Chongquan than we might see in the Master 3 and Master 4 division, or Master 2 division even.
Draw.
Well, that was a nice chunk one from Michael. You know, he says here he plays airsoft, and I don't know what airsoft is.
Airsoft, 7.27 for a second score. Wow, that's a big jump from the first. So it's going to be close here.
Yeah.
When they average it, yeah, 7.133. So our final competitor in the division was seeded number 1, is our current 2020 National Poomsae team member and World Championship team member, Polk Sun Young. He's from Southern California, and he runs his team, Ikta's Taekwondo team. So as you mentioned, I think in the semifinals, he's been in a lot of virtual competitions.
Yeah, I honestly cannot read all of his results because there's too many recently, and they're all medals, and most of them are gold.
He's a really thoughtful athlete. He has a plan for every single event that he's in. I'm lucky enough to be his world championship coach this year. And we've talked through strategies as we're working through the Poomsae, and he's very, very strategic in how he wants to approach each form and each line in each form. He's very detail oriented.
He's also working on a YouTube channel to share his knowledge of Taekwondo. And he says it's Online Taekwondo World, says you should all subscribe and like it.
Right. He's really working hard on that channel and hopes that everybody can join him there. So you might want to look into that. If you have some time, that was Master Polk Sun Young going through Kumgang with a score, a huge score. Wow.
Jeez.
That's
massive.
Yeah, that's an amazing score in this division. Yeah, well deserved. So he knows his timing quite well. He's going to set himself up. He does know Chongquan very, very well. I mentioned that this division's new for a lot of athletes, but he has a lot of experience moving through this Poomsae, both in individual and pairs division.
Right, so pairs and team will start with Jitae and Chongquan in the senior 2 pairs and team. So at 31 plus, you can compete with Jitae and Chongquan. So he has already many years of experience competing with it. And we will get to see him do pairs again soon.
Good job with Chongquan for Polk Sun Young. He received a 7.73. And this may even be higher. Yeah. 7.8 for Chongquan. Gets a huge score there. You can really see his timing was very smooth, threw the power when it needed to be there. He gets a 7.767. And look at that gap. Half point. So we have Polk Sun Young first, followed by Christian Sittaram, Victor Chung, Michael Bagaran, Angelito Ong, Patrick Sotelo, Arnold Chung, and Henry VR in the under 50 male finals. There are your standings. So up next, we have the male under 60 finals. And here are your referees for this division.
준비.
So this is Andrew Silver. He was seated ninth going into this event. He's from North Carolina. He goes to Pure Taekwondo Center. So this group's going to be doing Tebek and choreo.
And I think you mentioned this group started in the semifinals, right?
Right.
Yeah, so the fact that we have more than 8 in this division, just very impressive. This is the 51 to 60 years old. And it's nice to just see such big divisions as we get into the Masters.
Pro.
There's Andrew Silver out of North Carolina getting a 6.47 for Tebek. Of course, the next Poomsae is going to be choreo. So each of the athletes will be doing Tebek and choreo.
시작.
I think this is the first division that we get to see these gold coats. We just finished up the 50 and under, still in that white top for both the men and women, but now in the 60 and under, we get the nice gold top. I know people have different thoughts on whether it's gold or mustard, or, but I know some people got very excited to get a gold top, Coach Brand.
This is beautiful. So this is a Master 2 division. And the first division that will wear this specially colored dobak.
Pro.
So Andrew Silver got a 6.47
그냥.
for Tebek and now for choreo. That's 6.33. That seems about right.
Yeah, choreo, lots of side kicks, difficult form to keep the balance, but probably people feel comfortable with it since we have been competing with it for so long. But he gets a combined score there of a 6.4.
So up next we have Jesus Martinez from Texas. He's from Brio Taekwondo. He was ranked in the 6th seed spot going into this event and in the 7th position for these finals.
And unfortunately, he did submit the wrong forms for this round. So I don't remember what we do with the scores. So we will still get to see the form on this first form instead of Tebek. It will be probably, I think, like 1.5. We'll see at the end.
Right. That this should be a 1.5. That's too bad. Just know, Jesus, you're not alone. Other athletes have made the same mistake in this competition and in earlier competitions as well. So you get it next time. No problem. The Pyong will look pretty good, but he gets the highest score we can get if we make this error is 1.5.
Right, and it was a pretty good Pyongwon.
Right, it was. And so it'd be interesting to see what he's doing here. Looks like he's going for Sipchin. So he'll receive the same score here. But the good news was he got a lot of extra work on these two Poomsae, probably as he was recording and preparing for them.
Yeah, it looks like those were the 2 forms from the semis. So maybe he just submitted the same video twice by accident.
Right, and that's, an easy mistake to make. We just have to make sure we check and double check and maybe do a little triple checking too before we actually press send.
Absolutely. I was so nervous submitting my videos to make sure that they were the right forms, that I did them in the right order. I kept checking it. I was like asking my friends to check it. It just, because you're not out there on the mat seeing everybody else compete. So there's no way to check as you're submitting it. But please do take the time because he's doing a really good job here. just unfortunately with the wrong forms. Little bit of a lean forward on the torso he could work on, trying to keep back really straight as he moves through some of these dynamic forms. But that was Jesus Martinez, and we look forward to seeing you again, Jesus, at future tournaments.
That's right. So he gets a 1.5 for both of those forms. And there's his total. So up next, we have Robin Russell from the same club. He was seated in the 8th spot going into the event, and number 6 going into the finals. So he's off and running with the correct form Quebec. A little bit high on those boomsogis and a little wide on these front stances. So he can have a lot of fun working through this Poomsae in the future. So nice power up on that side kick. Looking like he really wants to highlight his power on these hand techniques. So good job to Robin Russell on the first form, Quebec. He gets a score of 6.4. He's just under Andrew Silver's score. Now off with choreo. He likes those a little bit more shallow stances. He's got to just extend maybe a little bit more so we can appreciate them fully. Wow, really aggressive approach on this line. Some people slow it down to get a little nervous around it, but he's attacking it. One thing you can work on a little bit is not pivoting on, not pivoting on the heels as the transition occurs. So here's Robin Williams' score for choreo coming in at a 5.9 following that 6.4 performance for Quebec.
Coach Bernie said Robin Williams.
Did I?
Combined two athletes' names there.
Robin Russell.
It's very funny though. Now we have,
I'm thinking
yeah,
of the
and Dan
comedian.
Williams.
I'm thinking of the comedian Robin Williams. Oh, it's Robin Russell. 5.9 for his second one. This is Dan Williams. Didn't mean to connect the two. He's out of Montana, Livingston Taekwondo. And seated in the number 4 spot coming into this division. Wow, nice extension on that first side kick.
You know, he competed at the 2014 Pan Am Championships in Mexico where he got a bronze medal. So nice for him to be on the team, and then now to get to see him 58 years old, coached by Bob Maves out of Washington.
So he received a score of 6.7. That's a really good score in this division so far. 6.7, good gap for Dan Williams. I think over time, his side kick has really gotten much higher.
And his front kicks are high too, coming towards the camera.
We'll see here. Yeah, his challenge is just the alignment, but he definitely has the flexibility. Looking for a strong finish here. A lot of core strength on these turns. A little bit of rotation with each one. It's a little wider on the stances than maybe he wants to be, but he did get back to the mark, and maybe that's what he was thinking about. So that's Dan Williams. He has 6.7 for the first form Tebek. And now for choreo, maybe even a little higher. Let's see. Oh, same, 6.7. I thought maybe just a little bit, scopes a little higher on the second Poomsae. So he ends up with a 6.70 and into first place for Dan Williams. This is Chung Kun Lee.
It's interesting to see all the different dojongs have belts on the wall. These look like maybe stickers or painted on. We've seen other styles throughout the divisions. I just like looking at everybody's dojang spaces that they train in.
Yeah, it looks like they have some freestyle athletes there with the big air track. So good start for Chung Kun Lee. Let's see how the score comes in. So 6.6. I think just a little bit more extension on some of those stances would help him create that picture that he's looking for. It's just a little shallow on some of the stances. Really good job on that left side kick. Looks like he feels a little bit more comfortable on the front kick technique. Just need to keep that support leg straight. Good job there. No hesitation on any of these lines. Sometimes we can think and overthink it. He's just smoothly going from one step to the other.
Right, he's taking a quicker tempo overall, especially in that side kick bar and at the beginning. So feeling very comfortable with this Poomsae.
Right, he's connecting really well. Like he's going for that smooth look on this form on choreo. Doing a good job on it.
Sure.
So that's Chung Kun Lee. He's able to boost that score up to 6.8, and that is a nice big score because I think he may be in a tied position for first place after that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see who has the higher presentation.
And this is Master Ronald Southwick from Michigan State Taekwondo Club, coached by Master Sarah Levance. Well, he's got that nice extension on the kicking technique and the stances. So good job to Ron Southwick with Tebek. So he was seated in the 3 position coming into the event and number 3 in the finals here. And he gets a huge 7.03. So nice gap.
Yeah, and he does need to boost here because the next 2 athletes have been on the national team before, well-known heavy hitters. So Ron, also well known, has been in the Poomsae community for many years and a very strong athlete. And those side kicks coming out pretty well.
Good pace here, good timing, running through choreo. He has a really good sense of his athletic timing, what he needs to do on every step, and make sure that he has plenty enough room in his pace to make sure he can highlight everything that he wants to highlight. So he got a huge 7.03 for that first form and follows it up with a 7.0 for choreo.
Those are two really good scores for him. That combined 7.017. We'll put him in first for now. Here are those scores. So Dan Williams with that 6.7 takes the second place spot with a slightly higher presentation, followed by Chung-Un Lee, Andrew Silver, and Robin Russell.
And up next we have Un Lee from Lee's U.S. Taekwondo in Texas.
Well, he had really great rotation coming forward on that Tebek bar.
Nice clean motion on that line to the rear. Un doesn't have a lot of extra motion. A little bit of dipping in those front kicks, but in general, a lot of nice, very clean movement and clean transitions. So he came in the number 2 spot and he ends up with a 7.33 for Tebek. And again, another big gap.
Yeah, that's a big score.
Right, we have a big gap between Ron Southwick and Chung-Un Lee, and then another one between Un Lee and Ron Southwick. So here he is on the second Poomsae. Un Lee is our current 2020 national team member.
He has a lot of fun facts that he submitted. His favorite food is sushi. His favorite drink is water. And his favorite book is Who Moved My Cheese? Which I've never heard of, but sounds great. Nobody should ever touch cheese. It's delicious and should be enjoyed by whoever has it.
His favorite drink is water.
Water.
Sounds like a huge risk taker in the beverage department. This is Un Lee finishing up choreo.
Chariot. Konye.
And 7.2 on the second one. So not quite as high on the first one. So we have our heavy hitters here at the end of this division here with Ron Southwick, Un Lee, and Garth Cooley up next, the last competitor in the division. So Garth Cooley is coming out of Indiana from Korea Taekwondo Academy. So he's going to be really showing some contrast here with he and some of the other competitors. Nice long movement for the most part, and he has a really strong side kick usually that he can really power up on that.
Yeah, he actually had a couple of bobbles there coming forward, but these side kicks are just very beautiful.
A little bit of a lean forward on that front stance to the rear, but very aggressive attacking style here on the end of the movement, really showing his power. That's Garth Cooley from Indiana, seated number 1 coming into this event. And in the finals too, 7.33, which is the exact same score that Woon Lee got right before him.
Right, so it's going to come down to this last choreo here for the division. Woon Lee, again, a 7.2. So it'll all come down to this last form for Master Garth Cooley.
So exciting. So these last 3 competitors here, Garth Cooley, Woon Lee, and Lon Southwick, have been competing against each other for some time now here. Just battle it out from event to event. Nice high presentation on that side kick. I'm going to say he scores higher on this one than he did on the last.
Right, there's so many side kicks here, which helps his presentation. And so many like long arm motions here, especially in the last bar. Even though we can't really see them, we can see the core, we can see the shoulders, but we see good rotation. So very strong performance from Grandmaster Garth Cooley.
Oh, look at that, 7.4. Great score to finish up with for Garth Cooley. So he had a 7.33, followed by a 7.4, and into 7.367. Boy, really close battle here for these athletes. And here are the final standings in the under 16 male division. Garth Cooley in the number 1 spot, followed by Woon Lee, Ron Southwick, Dan Williams, Chun Kun Lee, Andrew Silver, Robin Russell, and Jesus Martinez.
Right, and next, continuing the action here tonight, we have the male under 65 finals.
So this division, up first here with Joseph Coughlin, is going to be doing Kumgang and Hansu. Joseph is from Colorado, and he trains at U.S. Taekwondo Center. And his style is very, very big horse stances, the Juchimsogi. And this is looking very deep, but also hard to move out of when you have a stance that is that wide.
Right, we are seeing him take some pre-steps into the spins. So maybe smoothing out. Oh, and didn't quite stand up there. So we're going to take some accuracy hits here on this form.
Right, a little bit. So when you turn, you can't have both feet on the ground. You have to be picking up the other one off the ground. So he tends to turn first and then pick up his foot, which is a really good idea if you want to have the best balance possible. But you get dinged a little bit when you do that. We can see these accuracy scores here reflecting some of that. So he ends up with a score of 4.37. So what he was doing was actually harder. It's harder to have big stances like that and be moving out of them.
And here we get to see Hansu.
I don't think we've seen this Poomsae yet, have we?
No, not in this tournament, at least. We might have seen it in the summer of Poomsae.
So this is the highest Poomsae, the highest level Poomsae that can be chosen for the designated Poomsae for the event.
And is this the first age group where they might compete with Hansu?
Also, the division before this, also the Master 2 division competes with this Poomsae.
Gotcha. So there's only 8 competition Poomsae. So if they go all the way up to Hansu, then they start losing the lower form. So all the color belt forms at that point are not competition. I guess it's choreo through Hansu. Is that 8?
That's right. Choreo through Hansu for the Master 2 and the Master 3 division. So he gets a score of 5.27. So a nice little boost for the second Poomsae. And that's a significant jump. So he ends up with a 4.817.
And we're back. USA Taekwondo's Grand Slam. It is a virtual Poomsae competition, and I'm here with one of our virtual Poomsae. I'm going to call you a seasoned veteran. It's Bill Gamble from Minnesota. Bill, how are you doing this afternoon?
Doing very well, Jason. And you?
It's great. Yeah, I'm doing great. I appreciate this. It's really good to see you guys. I haven't seen you guys in so long.
I know. I miss the crew, right?
Yeah, I do. We all miss each other, and I do miss a lot of the action and competition. And that's really one of my first questions for you, Bill, is coming off of all these live competitions for you for many, many years in USA Taekwondo. Now to kind of jump into this virtual format, what are some of the main differences that you're kind of finding out in this sort of different competition?
Right. So, I'll probably just give kind of the standard answers. Obviously, I miss the community. I can tell you this, though, that we remain in close touch, right? So we'll have video chats and all that kind of thing. And, as these virtual tournaments come along, we stay in touch and we kind of check in on each other with training and so on. But, miss community, but there are some really cool elements as well to the virtual side. If I could run with that a little bit, I can name a couple.
Oh,
One is that it's actually, in my opinion, helping me out because I don't get quite so nervous
right.
as being live in front of judges. I find the pre-recorded one, such as we just did, right, for the Grand Slam, I get nervous, trust me, very much so, but it does allow me to sort of ease into it a little better. And I think that's helped my technique somewhat. And then I've also done this year 2 live but online tournaments. My nerves get a little heightened for that one, right? So breathe, Bill, all that kind of thing. But those would be the differences. But they're all tournaments and they're all pretty cool. And I do want to compliment USA Taekwondo on how well they're running these. Not trying to butter you up, but you and Sherman are rock stars. Remember the little people, right? But seriously, you do a great job. You make it fun, and you make it fun for us. It's professional. Things run on time, and that is a real sort of weight off of us when it runs that well.
Well, really, the rock star is you, because you guys are out there giving it your all in the competition. So without the elite athletes like yourself, there'd be no competition. And honestly, I know that Taekwondo is a big part of your life. Poomsae is a big part of your life. So we talked about it off camera a little bit. You did some sparring as well. So you've really been, one of USA Taekwondo's like multi-talented athlete. But that's not all you do. You do other things. So talk about some of the things you do when you're not competing at high level, ultra national Poomsae.
Sure. All right. So I do have a day job. I run a consulting business. You would call it management consulting. So I help company owners with their strategy. But really, my love and passion professionally has always been music. So I'm a classical performer and composer. That's what I studied, and I've done it since a young age. After college, went to Dartmouth out in New Hampshire. And then I decided I wanted to see the world. So I did get into the business world primarily as a means to travel. So I've lived in 5 different countries, spent about 15 years overseas. And, but all that time, I will tell you that music is my love and what I love to do. And currently just composing a lot of chamber music. And one really cool thing about, that's the wrong way to put it. There's nothing cool about the pandemic. But a positive side of it is that it's really sort of helped me with my international collaborations more. So we're getting pretty inventive. We're recording, we're doing projects together. So I'm working with a group in Spain, another in Switzerland right now. and barriers are getting broken down. It's forcing us artists to find new ways to communicate and produce. So that is a positive side of it.
Yeah, no question. You definitely finding ways in this pandemic to keep your loves, keep your interest, keep them going, keep it, again, be flexible, find ways to, call an audible to this or that now. And that's what's been, that's what's been so impressive about all of our athletes. But Bill, look, one thing about it is that I've seen you in the competitions, live competitions, for many, many years. And the one thing that I know that I can tell our membership about you, and this is for me from the outside looking at you, you are one of the most positive, one of the most, just infectious, the way you're around people. I see you at these competitions live, and you're just a really, really huge,
thank you, Jason.
I'm a huge proponent of you in USA Taekwondo. I really am. It's been so impressive to see you do that.
Thank you. And I will add on to that we kind of call ourselves the Gold Coats, right? The over 50s, right? But it's just such a great community. It's so positive, and there's a lot of just, first of all, fascinating, but also just constructive people who have a positive attitude toward life. And so that's part of the joy of it. And we help each other. We really do.
That shows. Well, Bill, thank you so much for spending a little time with me and chopping it up with Jason and Bill here at this is the USA Taekwondo's virtual Grand Slam. Your Poomsae's coming up next. I look forward to watching. I look forward to your competition. And more than that, I look forward to seeing you down the road. Hopefully we can see each other in a live, kind of a live competition again at USA Taekwondo, and we could just spend some time in that chaotic, fun environment.
Excited, Jason. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's Bill Gamble. Good luck, Bill. We'll see you down the road, sir.
Thank you.
Up next is William Gamble from Minnesota. He was in the number 2 seed spot going into this event, and then number 2 also in the finals here. So there are 3 athletes here all together.
Taking a good tempo here. There's always different approaches to how do you pick up into these crane stances. Sometimes you pivot first and then pick up. Some younger athletes might try and do it all at the same time. But I think especially as we get in the Masters division, it's how can you hold the balance? And that's maybe the best approach to take.
Right, I think
early pivot.
I think not only for the Masters division is the balance important, but just every single division that does Koomgang, starting with the cadet division. So it's always, how can we maintain the balance as we're doing this very quick spin, and then going from front stance to back stance to horse stance to Hakdari crane stance. So he's doing a pretty good job. Again, pivoted and then picked up the foot, which is what we saw Joseph do too. So we'll see if those small detail items are reflected in the score. A little bit off on that last stance, the last step landing a little bit ahead of the other foot. So he gets a 6.03, a pretty big gap in score from Joseph. So now on to Hansu. So this line, the accuracy is really important. We've got to go back with those parallel stances and nice shift, nice quick shift to the punches. Pretty good height on that side kick, followed by pretty good height on that front kick just before he almost looked like he was just about to move off the edge of that mat. So that's William Gamble from Minnesota. So he got a 6.03 for the first Poomsae. And look at that, nice little higher bump, just like Joseph got a bump on the second form. So he's gonna finish up with a 6.1. And up next, we have our 2020 national team member, James Park from Texas. This angle looks a little bit off, like it's a little bit higher on the left side of your screen maybe than your right. So maybe just a little bit of a camera issue there. Did a really good job on this first transition. A nice posture in that area. Little high on this transition here. Little different than the other side. Really careful bringing that up. So that left leg, Hakati steady, not as comfortable for him as the right. So we'll see that right one coming back, and I bet it's a lot more comfortable for him here. Good, he's able to add some nice punching power in every single opportunity in that form, which there's a lot of punches in that Poomsae, so that's really helpful. He ends up with a big score, 6.73 for James Park in Kumgang. Now moving on to Hansu, he's got quite a bit of experience with Hansu, so I'm imagining this score will probably be even higher. He has a lot of pretty movement, a lot of opportunity in these transitions to show a lot of core strength on that first line. Little head leaning on there, but I don't think that's going to affect the score. Very good control on this Poomsae. Little bit of leaning here and there. I don't think it's going to bother the score too much. So James Park received a 6.73 on the first Poomsae for Kumgang, and then now for Hansu, his score is rolling in at a 7.17. So that is a significant jump on that second Poomsae. So William Gamble was actually, everybody was able to jump up on that second Poomsae. So he ends up with a 6.950 and easily into first place there, followed by William Gamble and Joseph Coughlin.
Oh, I really enjoyed watching those Hansu Coach Brand. I don't get to see it that often, so it was really nice to see three kind of different interpretations of it.
Right, and James Park's done that one quite a bit in competition, so I think that he felt really comfortable with that. So that was fun to watch. Here's our quick look at the referees there for our next division. This is the over 65 male division. They'll be doing Tibet and Pyongwon. And we have more competitors in this division than the last. We have 6 in this division. We're starting off with Stephen Amsler from California, and he was seated number 6 in this division. Nice, quick attacking pace for Stephen Amsler. He's been in Taekwondo for quite a bit of time. 6.13 for that first Poomsae. I believe I remember Stephen Amsler from like the 1980s, not to date myself here, but
wow.
he's been in Taekwondo and been working for many, many years in different areas in Taekwondo, and he looks really strong here on his Pyongwon. Really nice to see him out here competing. He's got a really fast speed and a great left side kick. Good job to Stephen Amsler. 6.13 for his first form, Pyongwon. I hope he
Good.
continues to compete. It's been a bit of time, so it's really nice to see him back out on the floor. So he gets a 5.97 for the second Poomsae there, Pyongwon. So sometimes we speed it up because it just feels great to our rhythm, but we need to emphasize a few of those details more to get the higher score. So up next we have Chi Duong from Nevada, and he's our current 2020 National Poomsae team member.
And it's great to see him here. I don't think he competed at the Summer Poomsae, so nice now to see him at the Grand Slam.
So yeah, he didn't, and that's why he's probably coming in the number 5 seed. He's usually very careful about his pace and timing because he wants to make sure he's emphasizing all the small detail in the technique. So slightly different approach than our last competitor. Stephen Amster kind of went with some really quick speed. And you see Chi Duong really kind of just trying to settle everything and finish it completely before moving to the next step.
And he had great height on those front kicks at head level, at least. So very impressive. I love watching him.
He gets a 6.77. I think Stephen Amster could do the same thing. He just needs to give himself a little bit more time. So at the 6.77, that's a pretty good gap to start off with.
One fun fact about Grandmaster Chi is that he does ballroom dancing. So that must have him, help him have great rhythm and understanding of tempo, which also comes out in his Poomsae, but really great control there. Yeah.
So you see, he doesn't go for really super high side kicks. He goes for super line side kicks to make sure that he's in balance before he kicks and he's in balance after he kicks so he can recover really well.
That was a great job on that Pyongwon.
Yeah, he gets it for 6.77 for that first Poomsae and 6.9. So he boosted up a little bit for the second. So ends up with a 6.833. So here we have Jim Harp out of Iowa. He trains at the Academy and teaches at the Academy of Martial Arts.
Here's another fun fact I didn't know about Jim is that he plays several musical instruments, and he has a YouTube channel under either Jim Harp or his pseudonym Chicago Guy. So I might have to go check that out.
And he plays music there?
Yeah, I think so. He says he plays several instruments and tries to sing. So I'm definitely going to go look it up.
I think I'm going to do that too. Give me a minute. I'll be right back.
We got everybody pause the show. Got to change YouTube channels real quick. Great flexibility on the front kicks.
Yeah, he's got some good front kicks. He's been working through the detail of the accuracy with all the hand technique. He's been making some progress recently on that, and he gets a 5.8. So it's mostly the transitions, like going from one hand technique to the other, how to prepare for the next movement. That's what he's really working on.
It's great to see Jim competing in this tournament. I've seen him refereeing at many online tournaments as well, but he has competed in many of them, including at the Summer Poomsae, and he actually helped run an online Poomsae tournament for the Midwest at the very start of all of the lockdown. So that's a great thing to help do as well.
Yeah, he's made a lot of progress on that front kick, side kick combination, that last side kick there. So good job to Jim Hart. Great sport and a fun athlete to be around for sure. He was, I think, on the U.S. team in 2017. I think went to the Pan Am.
I think it was 2018. Yeah, it was the Pan American Championships out there in Spokane.
So you got a 5.93 on the second form, so he ends up with a 5.867. So currently in third place. This is Ken Thorpe. He's from Texas and he trains at Lee's U.S. Taekwondo. Nice job on staying balanced after those side kicks.
He's doing a good job moving through this form, definitely taking his time, being very accurate. Wow, look at that front kick. That was great.
He has great front kick extension. If he just takes off that lean forward, like that last step, then he'll have this really nice line, really looking good in his posture. So it's made a lot of progress too, but I think his highlight is definitely those front kicks. So he gets a 6.5.
And Ken competed in sparring for many, many years. Stopped in 1999, then did refereeing, but now switching over to Poomsae, seems to be really enjoying it and is looking forward to many years to come. And he also apparently, for his job, his profession was as a feature film screenwriter, which is also very cool. So I love getting to read and learn all these fun facts about the competitors.
That was his best side kick when he just did that left side kick. Was really aligned. Look at that. He's doing, interestingly enough, a better job on these side kicks in this Poomsae than he did on the Tebek ones. I don't know if he just got in a rhythm after the first one, but these look completely different. Much stronger.
Hello.
Good job to Ken Thorpe on Pyongyang. Most people would think that their score will go down significantly in Pyongyang from Tebek, but he's doing a really good job. And I'm guessing that the score went up, but see, yeah, 6.77.
Yeah, he really settled into that second one and just looked very comfortable. Kicks came out easier.
Yeah, you gotta be proud with that one. That one was really well done. This is Mitchell Dillard. So he's the first of the last two competitors here. He's from Texas and he trains at Parks Martial Arts.
Taking a little bit of a quicker approach on the side kicks, but he has a really good upright position on his torso. So his back is nice and straight here.
You know, a lot of athletes do that with Tebek just to be safe, right? Sometimes it feels like if you're going to extend too far, you might lose some control or all of your control. So sometimes you don't even get it extended out as far as you might want it. But he did pretty good on that. Look at 6.63. I think that's just for Chief's score.
Yeah, I think that's the second highest score for Tebek. And again, slightly different tempos, different styles. So not any one is correct. Just finding one that works for you and your body type is important.
Couple little extra steps on this game, so He's trying to be careful about it, but there was just a couple of extra little movements,
바로
little adjustments here and there. That's how Pyongwon is, though. It's like, oh, geez.
쇼 끝 전에
Yeah, so I think we'll take a couple extra hits on the accuracy on this form, but overall still a really good job.
Wow.
Oh, well, maybe not. Look at that.
Yeah, nobody saw any of that. It's 6.87. It's good. Good score. And it ends up with 6.75. So now into second place just behind Chi Duong. So now we have our last competitor up, Jang Hee Pak from Texas,
시작
from the Ichthus Taekwondo team.
He had great front kicks to open up the form and good control on that first left leg side kick. Okay, good control on both side kicks.
Yeah, his pace is really allowing him to finish everything. He has a little bit of a lean back on that front kick, kind of throws his posture off a little bit. But in general, very good Poomsae for Jang Hee Pak. Look at that, 7.2.
Wow.
So he picked just the right tempo and pace for him to be able to really finish every technique. And he's now into first place after that first Poomsae.
Yeah, and he came into this tournament, I think, seated in first place. And that's a huge gap there in that first form.
Right. Now we'll see what the score is. We're kind of close to Chi Duong's style a little bit. His knee didn't quite get as bent on some of the Hakdari sohis maybe as he wanted to. So it threw off his balance just a little bit, but it doesn't seem to matter because he was able to just keep going with it and not even really think about that part of it, and finishes up with a 7.2. So he ends up in first, Jang Hee Pak, followed by Chi Duong, Mitchell Dillard, Ken Thorpe, Stephen Amser, and James Hart. That was a really good division, over 65 male division. And now we move on to the male youth black belt, and there are your referees for the division. This group is going to do two kind of interesting forms here, choreo and then Taeguk Ijang, the second Taeguk Poomsae. This is JCE starting us off. He was seeded number 6 in the event. He's from Virginia and trains with Ichthus and Kim's Master United Taekwondo Center.
So we go from the plus 65 group now down to the 10 and 11-year-olds to see choreo here.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun.
It is fun.
Contrast for sure. We have the highest division followed by the lowest division here, at least in terms of their experience level. So Jason's doing a really great job.
He's opening up.
Really smoothly here in choreo. Looks like he feels really comfortable with this Poomsae.
바로
So Jace gets a 7.1. I think we'll see a lot of athletes in the sevens, right, Miyako, in this division?
Yeah, I think so. And then especially, Taeguk 2, the second form here, it's the second form they learn. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of moves. So we might get an even higher score here just because it is so simple.
I think it's a great form because it really shows their foundation, right? These first three forms kind of build the foundation for the rest of them. And so you get to really see the difference between the walking stance and the front stance, for example. They can see if the punch is accurately placed and thrown. And you can see the correct placement of the upper block and middle block. So it seems like the perfect contrast for choreo the more I think about it.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide on this form.
Yeah, 7.3, good job. So you got a 7.1 on the first one. Choreo now the 7.3. So that's going to bring his combined score to a 7.2. We have a lot of talented athletes in this finals.
준비.
So we have Samuel Bay up next. He was seeded number 3 in this division, in this event. And he is from Alabama. He trains at Zhang's Yongin Martial Arts.
I think we'll see a lot of high side kicks in this division, but really what I'm looking for is the retraction and how do they go into the front stance out of that side kick.
Interesting. What I'm looking for is the chamber of the side kick. Make sure it doesn't just swing up straight leg like a swinging kick. So it looks actually like it has a shape of a side kick as it begins to extend. So 7.23 for Samuel Bay. Good score. A little bit of a gap over JC on that first Poomsae.
시작.
This form looks pretty clean. I'm also looking at his pulling arm, right? So we have one arm that throws a technique and the other one helps it get there. And it needs to be very active in order to pull very quickly. And so he did a really good job on that. And of course, with these foundational forms, we want to make sure the hand and the foot in at the exact same time. Look at that score, 7.53. So really clean performance with Taylor E jump. So following that 7.23, he gets a combined score 7.383. And this is Jungwoo Kim from New Jersey. He trains at Black Belt World. Nice height. Oh, it was a really good height. Looked like he looked down during the middle of the kicks. Let's see what happens here on this one. Looks like he's just anticipating the next step. So just a little bit of a head rotation there.
Yeah, he has looked down a little bit, or at least a few times throughout the form. So making sure that the head stays straight, looking straight throughout the transitions too. That's great body control there. Again, this youth division, 10 to 11 years old.
Sure.
And he says that he enjoys playing Fortnite in his spare time.
And he gets 7.4. Look, we're just going up and up and up. So where will we end up by the time we hit that first slot there, that number 1 player in this division, Kobe Fong? We just don't know, but we're already to 7.4.
Well, I'm hoping that we get 2 athletes or an athlete to get 2 8s so we can get a combined score of 8. That's what I'm hoping for this tournament.
Well, you think it's going to be this division?
It could be. They're all scoring really well with choreo, and then Taeguk too. There is potential there for big scores. So even if you get like a 7-9, if you get an 8-2, it would give you a combined score of an 8.
Yeah, he's moving really clean on that last line. And actually through the whole Poomsae. He doesn't have a very quick speed in general on this form. He's just making sure that he finishes everything. That was Jungwoo Kim. He got a 7.4 for choreo and a 7.47 for the neck. So not as high as Samuel Bay got on the second form. So let's see where this puts him. 7.433. So into first place for Jungwoo Kim. Up next, we have David Gill from Virginia. He trains with U.S. Tigers Taekwondo.
시작.
Wow, that kick is way up there. A little bit different presentation, a little bit more on the vertical side.
On his torso.
Really great extension. I think he has a very small torso and then very long legs, which really pays off.
And David is another one of our Fortnite players, so maybe they all just need to get together and have a tournament.
바로.
I don't actually know how Fortnite works. I don't know if you can have a tournament.
I don't know either, but I'm guessing you can. 7.53 for David Gill, so probably a great idea. Miyako, I'm not sure if that's what they're already doing, but sounds like fun. 7.53 is a nice gap. That's what Samuel Bay got on take a key jump. So let's see if he can do the same or better on his e-jump. Nice height on those front kicks. They were probably very happy to get this Poomsae in their designated form list.
바로. 차렷. 경례.
Yeah, good job to David Gill. So he got a 7.53. 7.53 on the first one, and look at that, 7.6 on the second. Great scores. Now in the first place with 7.567.
준비.
Up next, we have Preston Park from New York. Really going for that high extension. Really pushing up. That was really good control on that right side kick. He was able to hang that up there for a second. Now looking for a strong finish. In general, he has a pretty quiet body. So he's able to really show contrast because everything else is quiet. That was Preston Park with his first Poomsae. Another big score, 7.6. Like with every new athlete, we're getting an even higher and higher score.
시작.
Preston's looking really good here on Taega Ijung. It's no surprise that he was Sport Illustrated Kid in August of 2018. So looking very sharp on his last line there of Taega Ijung. That's Preston Park out of New York, Preston Taekwondo. So after that huge 7.6, it's going to be, whoa, look at that, 7.7 for that second Poomsae. That's big because he ends up with a 7.65 and moves into first place with a little bit of a gap there. And here come our last three competitors, starting off with Waijing Ong from New Jersey. He's with Apex Tigers Martial Arts. Nice big reach on that first side kick. Both of them looking pretty equal, pretty high. Really good body position on all these front kicks. Good height. And no hesitation at all, just shooting right up with those side kicks. He's a little bit off his mark here, so we're going to see if he wiggles his way back to where he needs to be.
Get a little extra motion there on those double connecting chops at the end, but trying to push the power, I think, so we could see some angle.
Yeah, so he gets a 7.53, which is the same score that David Gill got. Not quite as high as Preston Park, though. So tied for second on that Poomsae, now to E-jump. Really good power on this form.
And we said this a lot during the summer of Poomsae, but just want to say again here that the video, sometimes you can lose some of that visible power. So they are putting in so much effort and power into it, but we lose some of it on the video when we're watching it. So just do keep that in mind.
And in Waijing's case, Miyako, he's a little bit close to the camera, which actually helps. So he's not way far back. We kind of lose some of it with the distance, right?
Right.
So he gets a 7.
That's a big score.
Yeah, it's huge. 7.65. Oh, look at that. We have a tie here with Preston Park leading because the presentation, his presentation is a little higher than Waijing Ong. And then in third, we have David Gill, followed by Jungwoo Kim, Samuel Bae, and Jace Yi.
Welcome to Chopping It Up. This is the USA Taekwondo Poomsae Grand Slam edition, and I'm here with one of our special guests. This is Silas Min from North Carolina. Silas, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good today, sir.
It's great to see you. It's great to see you very well. Hey, you've competed in several online competitions, in this case, USA Taekwondo online competitions. But this one was a tough one. It's a really important one. It's got a lot of points involved. So what kind of preparation did you do to ultimately present the best Poomsae you could to try to win this competition?
I trained hard with my coach, and I had to tape a number of times over a few days.
A few days. Wow, that's impressive. A few days of taping just to put out that Poomsae that you want to represent to try to win. So Silas, let me ask you a couple other questions. My next question for you is, when you're not competing in Poomsae, what other activities do you do or that you think you're good at?
I play the piano, sir.
You play the piano. I always wanted to play the piano. I always want to play any instrument, but all of them I always wanted to play the piano. So I'm very jealous that you can do that. What are some of the songs that you play? Give me some ones you like to play.
I like to play Bach.
Oh, is that all? Just Bach?
I play classical music, but
I love it. A classical pianist and a Poomsae star here at USA Taekwondo. Silas, good luck at the competition. I know you're going to do great. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on USA Taekwondo's Poomsae online virtual competition. It's also chopping it up. So I'm Jason Poos. This is Silas Min. Look forward to watching Silas in these up and coming competition. He's going to go for the gold. Thanks, Silas.
For having me, sir.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Up next, we have Silas Min from North Carolina. He trains at Kim's Taekwondo Center. Wow, his posture is really great. All the stances there on that front line, super swimming. Looks very effortless on this line here. I anticipate a pretty high score here for Silas, 7.5. So right in that top 4 there. I think that if he just powered up a little bit more of his hand techniques, he would have gotten a higher score there on choreo. Let's see if he can do that on take a gi jump.
Yeah, he has really great body positioning, but we're not getting much visible power. He could maybe have started a little closer to the camera to help with that.
Yeah, like he's doing it all right. The positions are correct. It just needs a little bit more oomph. Show off that power. So this one's going to be kind of tight here. So he got a 7.5
Kunye.
for the first Poomsae, and now for take a gi jump. He's rolling in. Look at that. That one a bit higher here. But I think that's going to put him around number 3 or something, because he ends up with a total score of 7.583. So is that right, Miyako? I think that's number 3 for him.
I think that's 3rd place for now. The top 4 are all so close to each other.
Right, and this is our last competitor, Kobe Fong from California. He trains with Dwangale, USA. And he typically has very smooth movement. It looks pretty graceful and elegant, and he's able to demonstrate power at the same time. Ooh.
I really liked watching those side kicks. They weren't completely straight up, but it was a full split because he was leaning into it on his base leg. So it was just a really nice kick on both sides.
That's Kobe Fong. He was seated in the number 2 spot for this event. He ends up with a really huge 7.73 for choreo. You really see him pulling there. Looks good. Yeah, really showing that off. Sometimes his head moves forward a little bit when he does the front kick, but not too much. Really giving himself time to finish each movement.
He has a nice draw before he hits all of his both attacks and blocks, which you don't always get in the 10 to 12-year-old division here, but he just has a very mature movement to his Poomsae.
Yeah, it helps when you learn it right the first time, right? Some athletes are trying to combat bad habits, but he doesn't have any yet because he's taught right. So that's a 7.9 for Kobe Fung, pretty close to an 8 that we were hoping for.
Yeah.
But the scores definitely climbed upward, and he finishes with a 7.817. So Kobe Fung in the first place, followed by Preston Park, YG Ong, Silas Min, David Gill, Jungwoo Kim, Samuel Bay, and Jace Gee. Those are the standings for the finals in the youth male division.
And I'm very excited, Coach Brand, because now we're moving into the team divisions. This is my favorite. So we're going to have the male senior 1 team, which is 18 to 30, and we have 3 male teams today.
Well, this is going to be fun. First up, we have the team Justin Chen, Alex Lee, and Ethan Sun.
Well, it looks so weird seeing people together. I'm so used to only individuals.
Yes.
And their forms are Pyeongwon and Chiljang. So 2 very dynamic forms I'm excited to see here. Well, that was just great.
Yeah, Pyeongwon, not the easiest Poomsae to do with the team because of those quick turns between the kicks. They get a 7.8 for the first Poomsae.
And all 3 of these guys did compete in individual. Of course, Ethan and Alex went, I believe, 1 and 2 in the finals, which we just saw. Justin Chan just missed out on the finals. His Shipjin was a little bit low, but all 3 very competitive, good athletes here. And an interesting choice to put Ethan up front. Again, Ethan and Alex kind of go 1 and 2 the past few years. You normally put your tempo setter up in the front. So I guess they chose Ethan to set the pace for them here today.
And also it's a natural choice because of height. So you have Alex and Justin a little bit taller, so it makes a pretty nice picture, right? So the optics look really great with the 2 in the back looking very similar height-wise. We have another 7.8 following their first Poomsae of the same score. So they'll end up with that 7.8 score. So up next, we have Andrew Hurd, Kevin Jang, and Jeremy Sup from CW Taekwondo at Boston. I appreciate the masks here in this event with them being pretty close. Most of them are usually about 1 mat apart, right, Miyako, when they start off. So they're pretty close to each other.
Right. And this is a slightly new addition of Jeremy Suh to this team. Used to be Kevin Jung, but Kevin Jung is in the front. Kevin Liu is aging up next year. So for this to be a major tournament for 2021, they subbed in Jeremy Suh here. Nice reach.
Yeah, they look good.
And Kevin Jung did not compete in individual, but did do team here with his teammates, and they get a 7.47 on Pyeongwon.
I think I probably would have put Andrew in the front here and the 2 others in the back. Just because of our perspective, it makes Andrew look a little bit smaller than he actually is. So I'd put him easily into the front. Their timing's really good. So they're pretty well synchronized here. Right, they look really good, and considering it sounds like they haven't been together very long. That was a really good form.
Yeah, this is their first time doing team together. And then, of course, they haven't really been training together because of quarantine or lockdowns, COVID, whatever. So, yeah, I think this is a great team.
I thought that score was going to be higher, actually, that 7.4. I thought they might get a higher score than they did for the first one. So for the 7.433. But they're really well synchronized.
Yeah, I liked the 7 more than their Pyong one. So I agree, but it's okay. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, this is Justin Marr, Jae Woon-jung, and Chris Jin. So they're from the U.S. Military Academy. Wow, nice reach on some of the side kicks there.
I remember this location. It must be at West Point, where they are all at the military academy. But I don't think they need to do the panning on the camera. So if you're recording this, if you're a cadet and junior, you don't need to pan side to side if you can fit within it. It just makes it very confusing and distracting.
Yeah, just as we view it, it looks like there's no like real stops anywhere. That the action keeps moving from side to side, so we can't appreciate your clean finishes if the camera's moving too much. If it's not necessary, just leave it there in place. Most cameras can capture the whole picture, especially in such a big space like this. It looks like the athlete in the front is definitely mentoring the other two, especially the rear, from our view, the rear right athlete, maybe a little bit newer to Poomsae or Poomsae teams. So they get a 6.67, but that's how everybody starts. You got to start off with a team with, one person taking the lead and trying to get your styles to look somewhat similar. They finished with a 6.767. So the standings here in the under 30 male team finals is, that's a lot of names there.
We'll do team Eagles, yes. Eagles, T-Boss, West Point.
There you go. That's exactly what I meant to say. So now we're to the male recognized team in the over 30 black belt division. Here are referees for this group. We have just one team in this division. This is Long On and Hui Win.
And we normally have some really great male teams here in the Senior 2 division, but I think because a lot of them couldn't fly to be together, we didn't get any other team. So of course the On brothers all live together, so we can have them compete in the same place.
And what a fun form to do together as a team or as a family in this case, because Jite is just a beautiful form as it opens up here in that middle block here, and then again here in this upper block. This really pretty technique to be able to do together. And of all the Poomsae, maybe one of the easier ones to time together because there's clear fast motion and slow motion movement.
Mm-hmm. No, well, that was great. I really enjoyed watching them. I don't think I've ever seen them compete together, all three. So that was a lot of fun for me to see.
Yeah, and 7.4, so a really good score for that first one. And none of them have to do this Poomsae in the regular recognized Poomsae division. So it's fun to start off with it as a team, because when you break off and have to do it as an individual, you have that confidence already built up. But this one, of course, they all have to do this is take a pole jump. And because they are so similar, it's easy to see if the lines are super clean as they're going from stance to stance.
And you know, something I never thought about before competing at home, they have that mirror on the left there. So when they're going to the side, they could actually look at each other without looking at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Really together there on that middle front kick bar. Nice unified jump to the left.
I think this leg jete is one of the ones that is more suited to team because of those clear stops.
Mm. Well, they look really great as a team. First year competing all together now that Long is up into the Senior 2 division. And I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
So slightly lower score for the second Poomsae. They had a 7-4 for the first. So they finished with a 7.383. And there's the standings there. We have just one team right now, like you said, probably due to COVID. They're taking that number 1 spot nevertheless. I mean, they didn't know when they entered if they were going to be 1 or 10 or 20. So they were just prepping for whatever might happen. And good job to them for taking that spot. So here are our referees for our next group.
And we have just one team in this female Senior 1 group, Alina Duong, Kelsey Ha, and Angela Tortora. Again, just the one team, the M team, like their coaches. But just because there's one, this still counts as a major win. So when they go into next year to try and make the national team, they already have a major under their belt.
Right, this is Alina Duong, Kelsey Ha, and Angela Tortora. She's in the front. Angela Tortora is in the front. Kelsey Ha on your screen on the right. And Alina Duong.
Actually, I think Angela's on, Angela's on the left and Alina's in the front.
Alina's in the front, right.
Hard to tell, they all have such long ponytails and masks.
It's the masks. Yeah, the mask got me for a second. But we do appreciate the mask, and that shouldn't impact the score whatsoever. It seems like the more we see them on screen, the more, ordinary it becomes, right, Miyako?
Right, definitely. It's almost weirder to not see the masks, especially with groups.
Yeah, especially with groups, you'd be like, oh, what happened there if they didn't have one? So 7.43 for their first score.
And of course, just to mention again, to try and make the national team, you need to win 3 majors to be the dominant athlete. So in the team, to get your ranking, it's a sum of the 3 individuals' points. And that does, I think, still count as a major for teams and pairs. But 3 major wins, again, gets you that dominant athlete status to try and make the national team.
That first line of choreo, that was a little tight for Kelsey going off on that side kick. She did a really good job of not bumping into that wall. We think of the space as being a little bit small for an individual, but with a team, holy cow, they're doing a really good job. So you have to navigate that wall off to the left there where it's cut in. That was a good job of making sure the space worked for them.
Yeah, really nice job to these 3 ladies fitting it in, and very solid runs for both Paljong and choreo. Again, side kicks are great on all 3 of them. A little bit lower score here, so a 7.37 on the second form.
Right, so they finished with a 7.4. And there's the standings for the under 30 female team finals. So let's move on to the male under 50 red belt division. And here's our referee group for this set of athletes.
준비.
First, we have David Kurtzman.
시작.
David is the only one in this division, but he's opening up nice and strong. And he says he took a 30-year break from Taekwondo and only recently returned to the sport last year in 2019. So it's great to see him coming back now. And he trains out of California under TG Taekwondo, coached by Master Kim Bo-hyun.
He gets a good score here, 6.53.
And they are going to do two forms here. So they have Taeguk Ojang followed by Taeguk Chiljang. I think he could do to make these stances a little bit thinner. They're a little wide coming forward, the front stances. So they should only be about 1 fist wide. Taking big jumps there, though. Arms coming out a little bit wide on those crescent kicks at the end, but overall, a very nice form. Taeguk Chiljang, one of the higher forms here for David as a red belt. So we'll see what his second score here. He got a 6.53 on the first form, a little lower here, 6.33 on the second form for a combined score of 6.433. And there he is. David Kurtzman takes first place in the male under 50 red belt division. And we're going to just keep on moving here. We're almost done, folks, but I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. We're now on to the youth male red belt division here. Here are your referees. And we have just 4 athletes in this finals here tonight. And these athletes will be performing Taeguk 4 and 6. So Sajong and Yukjong. Nice mix of forms there. Wow, great extension on those side kicks coming forward. We mentioned that this happens in Sajong and then not again up until Jite do you have side kicks towards the front or back. So a nice job from Cody 2. Cody is from Rancho Palos Verdes in California, trains at KS Choi Taekwondo Center. And on that Sajong, he gets a 7.43 to kick us off.
Big score.
Really high front kicks. Wow.
Wow, look at that round kick. Really good extension. Had a little problem on the recovery. Really great height on these kicks.
Yeah, his kicks are definitely the highlight of his Poomsae. He looks really great for a red belt.
He sure does.
So he is coached by Master Daniel Choi and Master Megan Yi. And his first form, he got a 7.43.
Oh, a little bit lower here, 7.17. So maybe a couple of those little balance moments. He ends up with a 7.3 for his final score.
We're here and chopping it up with Jason and James Wong from New Jersey, and James and I are talking about the virtual Grand Slam by USA Taekwondo. I'm so excited to have you on here. So James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, sir.
Yeah, it's good. You look great. Love the earbuds in there. Let's talk a little bit about competition, because you competed in the summer of Poomsae, and how did you do in that competition?
I did more than I expected, sir.
which is?
I really didn't expect that I would get first place.
Oh, I love it.
The finals.
Yeah, you did. I mean, so coming off of a virtual, if you will, a virtual title, and now you're moving into these virtual Grand Slams. So now you've done it. Was the preparation for it, the amount of time it took to actually prepare the form that you presented, was it less, more, about the same?
It was like about the same, sir.
Yeah, you're good at it. You know what you're doing now, right? You have some experience, and so now it's really showing. We were talking off camera, and you talked a little bit about something that's pretty fun to me that I've done it once or twice. I'm not very good, but you like to go surf in Hawaii in your spare time? Is that what you like to do?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, don't we all like to go to Hawaii in our spare time? But I agree with that. But so what's the biggest wave that you've taken on that board there in Hawaii? Can you give me an idea? 2 foot, 3 foot, 10 foot? What is it?
It was around like a 7 through 9.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. That's impressive. I worked really hard on those 1 and 2 footers. So that's very impressive. Very impressive. So James, well, I look forward to watching you here as your form is going to be coming up here pretty quickly on the Grand Slam Poomsae. And I just want to say good luck on your up and coming Poomsae. Good luck on this Grand Slam. And we look forward to interviewing again down the road, and hopefully live in person sooner than later.
Yes, sir.
James, you have a great day. It is James Wong from New Jersey coming up next with his Poomsae here at USA Taekwondo's Poomsae Grand Slam.
준비.
This is James Wong from Korea Taekwondo Center
시작.
in New Jersey. Very deliberate movement he's making for every single hand technique.
James competed in the summer of Poomsae, and his parents said that he loved watching every single episode. So hopefully, James, you're enjoying watching all of these Grand Slam as well.
Wow, that brought a smile to my face because we got to watch each one of those episodes too, right, Miyako?
We did, and I also loved every single episode.
A couple of them I watched more than one time because I got to view it a few times. So 6.8 for James Wong's first Poomsae. I know a lot of athletes watch their particular episode over and over again. I know Miyako did, right? Enough of that 18 to 30 female division, senior 1.
Well, I didn't compete in the summer of Poomsae, but I had to check out the competition for the Grand Slam.
Oh, that's right. So was it the NCTA tournament that you jumped in on?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
James is working his way through 6 here. Another fun fact is that he's learning how to speak Korean, and his tutor is in Korea, so they actually meet over Zoom to learn.
That's fun. Hopefully one day, maybe 2021, he can go and meet his teacher and actually, have a little bite to eat and have a nice little conversation in Korean.
Yeah, I feel like ordering food is the first thing you should learn in a language, how to order food.
Snacks. 6.87 for his second Poomsae. So 2 really good Poomsae there. 6.8 and 6.87 gets him a 6.833. Up next, we have Ian Kim from Arizona Pride Taekwondo Center. Saw a lot of athletes from Arizona Pride in the summer of Poomsae. It's nice to see them continuing their development in this Grand Slam event. So summer of Poomsae afforded the athletes a lot of points because it was an 8.0 tournament. So the number 1 athlete got 80 points out of that. What's the case, Miyako, for this 16.0 tournament?
Well, the easy way to remember the first just multiply it by 10. So if this is a 16.0, it's 160 points.
Which is a ton, right? Because it's a Grand Slam event and the first of 3 major events to come. 7.07 for his first Poomsae.
Right, this is the first major tournament that we have, especially as you try and make the national team. Again, these are just red belts, but they will be getting their black belt next year or so. So those major wins will become valuable so that you can get into those training camps, and then you can get to go see those national team coaches and get new tips as well.
And that's going to be increasingly important as we go through the next few years. We haven't had this Poomsae pathways in the past. This is the first year of it. So it's going to be very exciting over the course of the next, 5 to 10 years, how much we can develop these young athletes, especially in these younger divisions, right? The youth divisions, huge opportunity for them to develop over the course of the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely.
So that was Ian Kim receiving a 7.07 for the first Poomsae and a 6.93 for the second. So if parents are out looking for important tournaments, we want to make sure they're really focusing on the Grand Slam events and other events through USAT that afford points. So Ian Kim finishes up his performance at the 7.0, and this is Troy Wynn from Team M Community Poomsae Program in California.
And Troy won first place at the Summer of Poomsae, so that helped him with his seeding coming into this tournament. Troy has a ton of Legos, and that's one of his favorite Legos, which I'm sure his parents also enjoy.
Unless they step on them. So yeah, 7.7 for Troy Wynn for the first Poomsae. And I remember some of the community Poomsae team athletes competing outdoors in the Summer of Poomsae. So it's nice to see them competing again here in this event, and then also we have a really good view of Troy in this setting here. Got a really big score on that first Poomsae, 7.27. So a really big gap for him after the first Poomsae. We'll see if he can add to that score.
Right, but it's going to be close because our first competitor, Cody, had a 7.43. He dropped on that second form though, so that score to beat now is a 7.3.
Oh, so hopefully he actually powered up here and can put higher with a total score of more than 7.3. It's going to be close, and look, he does. He gets a 7.37. This is going to be super tight in here in the first and second positions.
That might just be enough.
7.317. Good job to Troy Wynn. Moving into first here in the youth male finals in the red belt division. He's followed by Cody 2, Ian Kim, and James Wong. Up next, we have the female under 50 red belt division. We have this referee team here on your screen working this division.
We're back with another great interview here at USA Taekwondo's virtual Poomsae. This is the Grand Slam event. It's an important event. I'm here with Charity Lawson. Charity from California. Charity, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Charity, we talked a little bit off air, but now let's talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm really interested in. One is your story, and what I mean by that is you've competed in competitions live. Now you're into these virtual competitions. You've just moved in the last, I don't know, let's say year and a half to a new studio. Like, just tell us what's going through your life right now in this crazy pandemic with these things and how you got to where you are today.
So actually, my kids joined, probably like a lot of people my age, my kids joined first. We got a coupon on Halloween from Seattle Taekwondo. They handed them out at Halloween with bags of candy, and my kids got one. And my two youngest kids are really close in age. They're only about 9 months apart. And they're just so close in age, and they fight constantly. And so we thought if they had something in common, like their two older sisters, maybe they'd get along better, or at least the fights would get more interesting. So we got a little bit of both. Sometimes the fights are just more interesting. And they really got really passionate about Taekwondo, and they really worked hard. And my daughter's really dedicated with it, and it really helped her with some health issues as well. And so they've been doing it since about 2014. And I sat on the sidelines, because they were there every day, and I'd pick them up after work. And I started watching the kickboxing classes, and the master said, well, the kickboxers, they get to break a board when they graduate and move up to the next level and rank up. And I was like, break a board, I'm in. And so I started doing that. And as that class dwindled down and got smaller, and he needed to cancel and close out that class, he's like, well, if you come over to the Taekwondo program and do that, I'll let you finish and get your black belt in kickboxing while you're doing Taekwondo. And I said, okay, fine. And so I finished out my requirements, and I got my black belt in Taekwondo right before we moved to California, and then wanted to continue my Taekwondo journey. So the first on the agenda was find a studio. And so day one in California, we came to Quest Taekwondo. So we really just were surrounded by lots of great instructors throughout this whole journey, and lots of patience for me, because I don't pick it up as fast as my kids. They pick it up like that, and I'm like, show me that about 10 more times. And the kids are like, they're really fast with it. And my masters are so patient. Master Vargas and Master Bobby are just so patient with me. And I'm like, really? No. Are you, how was that block again? And I don't know how many times I've done a Poomsae, and they're like, you just combined 4 Poomsaes in one. And I'm like, well, maybe we can enter a good creative Poomsae.
There you go. Right. We can come up with that. We can make those categories of creative Poomsae. I love it. Charity, when you're not doing this high level Poomsae, I'm sure you have a job, you have a career. Can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
So I'm a propulsion engineer for a major aerospace company in Southern California. So I'm an engineer, I'm a manager for the corporation, but I also have both functional responsibilities and programmatic responsibilities. But my job is to basically build rocket engines to keep satellites in orbit. I've worked on programs that have gone to every single planet in the solar system, including Pluto's, but which sadly has been demoted. So I have worked on the shuttle engines, so the primary and the vernier shuttle engines for the reaction control system. I've met astronauts, the first and the last men to walk on the moon. So I've met Neil Armstrong. You can see I have Neil's autograph there. He didn't give that out very often. And then up in the corner you can see Buzz Aldrin's, and then over there is one of the German rocket scientists' autographs, because I went to space camp and I met a German rocket scientist. But growing up, my dad, he was born and raised in Florida. I was born in Florida, but he used to watch all of the Apollo, the Mercury, the Gemini launches, and he was just always excited about the space program, and he instilled that in me. And after the Challenger, after we lost Challenger, I remember seeing that on TV, and I remember following the failure investigation, every little detail of that. And after that, I was like, well, Dad, I want to be part of that. I want to be in the space program. I want to be part of those missions. And I was never, right after I got my job, because I went to Purdue University because I wanted to go to the same school as Neil Armstrong. So right after I got my job and I knew I had my job, I took my dad a poster of the first program I knew I would be working on, and it was the Chandra Space Telescope. And I said, Dad, this is what I'll be working on. And he still has that poster hanging up in the house. And I just take such great pride in that particular mission, because not only was that mission so successful, but the propulsion subsystem manager was a woman. It was launched on STS-93, commanded by the first woman commander, the mission specialist who helped get that in orbit, a woman. And then a woman helped to download and do all the data to get those images that we got from Chandra. So the first images of color images of a black hole. So all of that, I kind of like, I stand on the shoulders of some really great scientists and some great women. And I really love to just pour that into other people. So I like talking about my job, even though there's aspects about my job that I can't share because of the nature of the business. But I do, the parts of it that I can share, I really just love telling little girls about it and young children about it, but just to tell them you can do this too, because it's just such a great job. So, but yeah, we like to throw people off the planet, we like to say, so it's great.
Well, it's absolutely fascinating. I mean, fascinating. Look, it's Charity Lawson from, Charity, you're now from California. Good luck in your up and coming Poomsae. It's coming up here next. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Thank you.
I know the multi-talented rocket propulsion engineer, maybe. Did I get that right? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But I so want to tell you good luck. I look forward to seeing you in person at some of our up and coming events here at USA Taekwondo. And
my goal is just to better myself each time. So
that's
I worry more about because of the engineer in me, I like to say, well, what was my score last time? Did I improve? And what could I work on? So I'm just constantly about that. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for spending some time. You've been chopping it up with Jason and Charity. We're going to have a great time with this Grand Slam. Look forward to watching your competition, which is coming up right now. You've been chopping it up again with Charity Lawson and Jason Poos.
Thanks.
And we have 3 women in this group here, starting off with Charity Lawson from Taekwondo in California. So they'll be working through Taeguk Ojung and Taeguk Poljung. She's really trying to highlight the extension of all the hand techniques. She's got a little bit of a pop-up heel as she makes a transition, so something to look forward to working on.
Yeah, I can see she has ankle wraps on both ankles, and having had ankle injuries myself, it can make those transitions really hard. So hopefully she can work on healing those so that those transitions can be a little cleaner.
Yeah, 5.07 for Charity Lawson's Taeguk Ojung.
태극 8장 시작!
And now to Poljung, which might be the highest form that they know. So probably they've only known this for a short period of time.
And they may have just learned it for this particular event. So they may have saw it coming, knew that they needed to get this one under their belt, and then picked it up from their coaches or master instructors. So this one is full of challenges with that Poomsae front kick line here that we're seeing her work through pretty well. And probably the highlighter of her form is that she's really trying to extend the arm techniques out to show the full motion. And then as she gets more and more experience, she'll be able to use that pulling arm to get even more power. And she ends up with a 4.3. So this one is a lot more challenging. So it makes sense that the score would go down just a little bit, right, Miyako?
Yeah, especially since they haven't been able to compete with it maybe ever before. So good job to Charity working through that. She gets a combined score of 4.68.
시작!
And this is Marsha Buffett from Idaho. She trains at Elemental Taekwondo. She looks like she's done Ojung many times. So she's just like moving right through it. a good try on trying to stay level with those side kicks. Those side kicks are pretty tough in Ojang for many athletes, trying to get that full rotation and then kicking with that rear leg there. So for Marsha Buffett, first score 4.7, a little bit lower than Charity's score was. So this is going to be nice, tightly run division here.
시작.
As Marsha works through her Paljang, she just has such a really interesting life. She's a single mother of 3 girls, and they have, or at least one of them has some developmental disabilities and mental health issues. So Marsha spends a lot of time with her daughters, helping create a lot of fun and activities and supportive life for them. So I think that's just such a big thing to do, spend so much time with her daughters. And one of her daughters does Taekwondo with her, and she got to compete in a team Poomsae with her, which must have been a lot of fun.
Ooh, that was a nice save, how she did that transition there. And it's nice that she's taken some me time for herself as she's, moms and dads, they spend a lot of time thinking about others. So it's nice to see that she's taken some time for herself to train, and not just train, but to compete. That's a big deal because it takes a lot of extra energy. And so she received a score of 4.23 for that second Poomsae. So she's just behind our first competitor, Charity Lawson, who's now in first place. So she gets a 4.467. We have just one competitor left in the division. This is Catherine English from NB Taekwondo in Arizona. This is interesting because it's at an angle here for our view. And probably she did this because of space, right? So this probably afforded her the most length coming forward here.
Yeah, and she does a good job staying in the screen here. It's a really interesting dojang. I don't know if I've seen this angle before with all of that weight training equipment back there.
Yeah, there was one other athlete who took this corner angle in a club like this too. And I was like, well, that is really creative. It's a good way to solve the problem because most of the forms come quite a bit forward, not too much to the outsides, but quite a bit forward.
Right.
So that's Catherine English with a score, big score in this division, 6.37.
Yeah, Catherine also has a really interesting story. So she is returning to Taekwondo in 2018 after a 25-year hiatus.
Wow.
And she says that she started over at a white belt, maybe relearning all of the Poomsae again in the new current style, because they really do change kind of, every few years the style shifts. So it's great to see her here both competing. She competed at AAU Nationals online this year, and she also helps out at the dojang.
Nice dance, and good for her for being willing to start over again, and for her coach and master instructors to see the big picture, right? Of letting somebody begin again and have fun, have that joy of being a beginner again, rather than the pressure of being a high rank and then having to somehow figure things out that not quite comfortable with. She has a
especially
nice,
after 25 years.
Yeah.
But great to see her in a strong performance on these 2 forms today.
Yeah, that's Catherine English from Arizona from NB Taekwondo getting 6.13 on Taekwondo Paljang. So our standings are going to come up here just after her final score of 6.250, and she'll be in that first place slot. We're kind of reverse order from where we started. So we have Catherine English in first, followed by Charity Lawson and Marsha Buffett. Good job to all of those athletes in that division. Up next, we have the female youth red belt division beginning. And here is our referee crew for this division.
And this is our last division of the night. We have a full finals here for the youth female red belts, 10 to 11 years old, and they will be doing Chiljang and Sajang. This is Adeline Jar from Wichita, Kansas, and she trains at Kim's Academy of Taekwondo under Master Jessica Pierce.
Yeah, and she was a number 4 seed coming into this event. So she's going here first. So of course we're doing reverse order. She came in 8th in the semifinal, so goes first here. And she has a score of 6.57 for her first form.
Again, 7 is a difficult form for the red belts, maybe not having competed with it for very long. And then Sajong now with these side kicks coming forward. Again, difficult in a different way. But Adeline really attacking it.
Good, always these last
And
4
Adel-
steps looking strong for most athletes, totally looking strong on those last 4 steps to clean up the finish there, and they look really good on those usually. So here is Adeline's second score coming in after 6.57. She gets a 6.87. So a good start for this division. Her final score is 6.717. Up next, we have Melanie Zhuang from New York. She trains at East Taekwondo.
시작.
She has a little bit of extra. Yeah, a little high and a little extra head motion, I think.
Maybe just a little more extension. She looks like she's on the taller side of the division, so maybe just needs to catch up to her growth spurt. Those stances were probably really great about 6 inches ago, but she's got to add on a little bit. So that's Melody Zhuang. She gets a 6.9 though, so good score for the first Poomsae.
Yeah, big jump up there from Adeline's first score. We'll see if she can hold onto it for the second form or even go higher.
Nice shoot up on the side kicks and fairly aligned. Not too much of a there.
Pretty good job of stacking the weight, but the base leg did collapse a little on the front kicks.
Yeah, I think if she reached out a little bit more to extend the stances, her hand techniques would actually have more time to demonstrate power. She'd have a little bit longer hand technique, or yeah, especially with the punches. So 7.23 is a comfortable lead at the moment. So here's your combined score, 7.067. I have a feeling the scores are going to get pretty high at the end. What do you think, Miyako?
I think so too. Yeah, we're already jumping up into the 7s here for these red belts, which is really great. Look at that flexibility. And of course, it's pretty late here on a Thursday as we're watching this. So these youth 10 to 11, if you're on the East Coast, you may not be watching tonight, but we hope that you are watching it at a maybe earlier hour on Friday or after it's aired, since it is so late here on the East Coast on Thursday.
Oh, I'm sure they're too excited to wait. I bet they're getting special permission to stay up. So thanks, Mom and Dad, for letting them do that. So this is our youth female red belt division. That was Laura Tran, and she's got a score of 6.27. So a little lower than the others. She really has to boost up the next score. I think she's going to have to increase the power.
시작.
Laura's from California. She trains with YIC Taekwondo. Ooh, really nice height off of those side kicks.
Yeah, she's really nice kicks. I think just needs to do a little more work with the stances. Make sure they're the correct length and the weight is where it should be. But overall, pretty nice.
Probably more the back stance, right? A little short on the
Yeah.
back stance, especially with it so close to the camera.
Mhm. But a quick fun fact is that Alora loves animals, especially cats and horses, and she loves to go horseback riding.
So she gets a higher score, good for her. Boosted it up quite a bit for the second one with the 6.97. So a combined score of 6.617.
준비.
This is Nabila Diorio, and she's from Illinois. She trains at
See.
Flying V
Ja.
Martial Arts.
I think I remember her from the semis. Her kicks are
Look
just
at that.
great.
Straight up and effortless is what I remember. It just goes up there on its own, seemingly.
And she really takes her time. She just has a composure that's far beyond a red belt and you normally see here. Well, I'm glad she's going to do Sajang so we can see some more kicks from her.
Right.
Hello.
Especially facing the camera, so we get to appreciate that great flexibility. So she comes in at 7.07, the highest score by a bit.
시작.
A little low on those first two knife hand blocks, but let's see what she does on these kicks. Nice and high. Right one.
Yeah,
a little
really
bit
nice
more
alignment.
Yeah, especially on the right side, right?
Yeah.
And then way up to the moon on front kicks.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I remember this fun
Hello.
fact too. She likes to to play with her two cats named Marshmallow and Fluffy.
Oh, sweet. So she had got a 7.07 look, 7.27 on that second one. So nice boost. That's a great score in any division. 7.167. So this is Chloe Ng from California. She trains at KS Choi Taekwondo Center. So Chloe was seated in the number 9 slot coming into this event and came in 4th in the semifinals.
And Chloe, outside of Taekwondo, likes to play golf. And she said her favorite golf course is the Prince Phil Mackay golf course on the Big Island. And I'm pretty sure if I golfed and I had been to Hawaii, my favorite golf course would also be in Hawaii. My favorite everything is in Hawaii, but
6.83 for Chloe Ng. So have you traveled there a lot, Miyako?
I used to travel almost every summer because I have family there. But I haven't now that I work. It's not as easy to travel, and most of my travel goes to Taekwondo tournaments. It's a different tempo approach.
Sure is.
Nabila was a lot slower, and now here, Chloe's very quick.
Oh, yeah, she's ready to go. Wow, good job to Chloe Ng. She just like ripped right through that Taeguk Sajang. I'm interested in seeing the score comes higher than, or lower than that 6.83. Okay, paid off 7.13 for her Sajang. This is going to be kind of tight here for this right here, 6.983 for her total score. So into second place for Chloe Ng. This is Hannah Levino from Daihan Martial Arts Center in California. She has that nice long reach, significantly taller than the other athletes in the division. Not quite as low in that Poomsae as maybe she could be, so something to work on.
Yeah, she already has those long legs. Arms are working nicely to give her some volume, but she does have a slight lean forward here on these front stances.
Yeah, a little up and down movement from stance to stance, so that's something that maybe can be developed easily.
Look how high that kick came, though. That crescent kick was huge and above her head. Very impressive.
So huge score, 7.3 on that first form, so it's quite a big gap.
시작.
Hannah has some really great activities that she does outside of Taekwondo. She likes to zip line, horseback ride, practice archery, and fish for kokanee with her grandpa and Mima.
Wow, she just did a
Hopefully.
nice set of kicking techniques there on the last two lines, really reaching up. Almost feels more comfortable, I think, on the kicks than the hand techniques and stances.
Yeah.
바로. 차렷.
She got a
경례.
Well, she came-
7.3. Big score on
She
the
came into she came into the finals in third place here, but she had a massive score on that first one, like you said.
And another good score here, 7.33 on Taeguk Sajang. So she ends up with a 7.317. So easily into first there. So here's the rest of the standings so far. We have Nabila Diorio in second, Melody Zhuang in third, followed by Ko Ying, Adeline Char, and Laura Tran. Up
준비.
next, we have Nicole Strauss.
시작.
Nicole trains in Illinois at iTiger Martial Arts.
Taking a slower tempo here. Pretty clean overall, considering this is a somewhat new form for red belts. Again, slower tempo, but very accurate.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Exactly, Miyako. It's a slower but very accurate. Good job to Nicole Strauss. So look at that, 7.37. Really good score for that. And see if she does the same strategy with Taeguk Sajang. Most athletes have been speeding up this Poomsae.
시작.
It could be a strategy to go slower on the newer form that's kind of dynamic and difficult, but then in this form where they're more comfortable, they've done for longer, they can speed it up a little.
She really isn't speeding up here, though. She's doing.
She's not, though.
Not at all. But she looks like she feels very comfortable with this. Not that she's hesitating. She's just selected this speed as the one that's going to work for her.
바로. 차렷. 경례.
So Nicole got a score of 7.37 on that first one. Taeguk Chojang. And now on Taeguk 4, huge 7.6. Wow,
Wow.
that's big.
That's by a 0.3 margin, basically.
Yeah, so she finishes up with 7.483, but here comes Jordan Tomas from California at Yao Taekwondo.
시작.
She also has big kicks from what I remember, really trying to go up real high on those front kicks.
think it's going to be pretty tight here. It's going to be very interesting to see who the judges like.
Oh, 7.43 on that first one. So again, not a really aggressive, quick speed for any of these athletes. So the strategy is really to finish and to show the height of the kicking techniques, it looks like.
Outside of Taekwondo, Jordan likes playing video games, running, and sleeping. Many young athletes like to do video games and sleep.
But not too many do the running, so that's nice to hear that she's trying to build up that base strength, that base stamina, so she can kick stronger. So that's nice to see. So Jordan Tomas with the first score of 7.43, finishing it with the next one, 7.63. So in first place. So let's see what that final score turns out to be. 7.533. So our standings are here. Jordan Tomas in first, followed by Nicole Straz, Hannah Levino, Nabila Diorio, Melody Zhuang, Chloe Ng, Alan Jar, and Elora Tran. That's our standings for the youth female finals in our 2020 Grand Slam.
Thank you so much for joining us for episode 4. We just had the finals for all of the male divisions, as well as some teams and pairs and some red belts. So I had a great time. Coach Brand, what did you think of all those finals?
Super exciting. I mean, I'm just like sitting on the edge of my chair, every single division, just like watching these scores come in, comparing, analyzing with you. And I hope that everybody at home is doing the same. So we have this really collective energy going through the country watching this. This is a fantastic Grand Slam. Great idea that USAT came up with, especially during this time, like right before Thanksgiving. What a way to like jump into the exciting holidays, right?
Absolutely. And Thanksgiving is just 1 week away now. So you can rewatch all of these videos with your family next week.
Yeah, and let's start off the thanks with thanking everybody out there who's watching along with us, and thanks to USAT, and a really big part of that is Jose Villapando. Thanks to Jose for putting it all together behind the scenes along with Alyssa Allen. So we hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you in episode 5.